Coding was first introduced to me by my swimming coach, Miss Irene Hisham. She was the one who was explaining about coding to my parents and recommended Qt Kits to them to enroll me to start my coding journey. My dad, who was very keen with her explanation, came home and talked to me about it. Me, who really likes to play games and spend a lot of time on my laptop, said yes and thought it was a very good idea because it will help me in my future to code or create my own game or website.
My favorite part about coding is when I get to test the project I have made so I can see it's either successful or unsuccessful. And if it's unsuccessful, I could improve my troubleshooting skill too.
Yeah, I will use it for my future career maybe so I can be really good at coding, then most country or university want to accept me as their coder, or maybe I can help people edit their photos or code new games and post it on the App Store, and then people will like my game and I'll become more popular.
Our vision is to discover an individual's passions and turn it into sustainable skills. Therefore, we have catered to curriculum best fit for kindergartens, primaries, and secondary school students. We shall learn and master future-ready skills such as artificial intelligence, robotics, coding, 3D modeling, and so on.
Red, orange, yellow,
In future, most of the job will be replaced by robots, machines, and software. Here comes questions. Will robots take over humans? Definitely no. But we must undergo a transformation, reshape education, and reform ourselves. We foster the unique individualities and self-assurance of each student, equipping them to take on the world with our Genestech philosophy, one patient, infinite futures.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Beautiful Sunday today in Kuala Lumpur, and I hope the weather in Sabah, Sarawak, as well as Wilayah Persekutuan Labuan is doing great. We have a very special guest today from across the causeway. He is based in Singapore. He has been with us throughout the journey of the My Digital Maker, and we will get into that story in a short bit. But first of all, please, I would love to welcome Vincent Kok into our session today. Welcome, Vincent. How are you?
Hi, thanks, Andrew. I'm fine. Thanks for having me in this show. Yeah.
Oh, no. I think we should be thanking you for spending your Sunday your weekend together with us today, and obviously to share quite a fair bit of knowledge. We know you are a journeyman in terms of being in the maker space, especially in digital making as well. So we would love to get this conversation started. So I suppose let's kickstart this by asking you this question, right? Perhaps a little bit of a background, because for our viewers who may not know you, I did mention that you are dialing in to us right now from Singapore, but perhaps could you give us a little bit of a background about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So for myself, I graduated with a degree in electronic engineering. So then later on, I started to work in Intel, Malaysia, Penang. So as an application engineer. So back then, during the Intel days, I was quite heavily involved in the maker scenes in Penang. So if you recall the Penang Maker Fair, Penang Mini Maker Fair, Penang Maker Fest, all that was happening back in 2015, 16, or that time. Then that's where I get involved in that. And after that, I pursue my another journey onto EdTech, which is education technology field, where I involve heavily in the education. And right now, I'm more involved as a technical trainer in Microsoft. Yeah. So that's my kind of like journey from my graduation up to now, which is about 7 years. In the time right now, yeah.
So just to get an idea, you did mention the Penang Mini Maker Fair. So I would assume that originally you are from Penang?
No, I'm not from Penang. I'm from Perak, yeah.
You're from Perak. Okay, great.
Yes.
Now, since you have already mentioned about the Penang Maker Fair, that was one of the things I wanted to get into. Penang Mini Maker Fair, could you give us a bit of a description of what it is? What was your role? I know you were the organizing chairman and things like that back in 2014, 15, 16 as well. Could you just give us a little bit of a background about the Penang Mini Maker Fair?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So for Penang Mini Maker Fair, well, Maker Fair is a kind of like a celebration of creativities and innovation across the world. So it's actually happening globally. So we bring this kind of like celebration to Penang. So that's where I think different industry like Intel, Motorola, I think, and a few more, they work together. And I think Crest as well. So we work together to organize this fair, so that it's kind of like a branded like science fair. So that's where we gather people from all around art and craft, tech, to together and showcase their work to the community, right? So it's about community, and that's where we foster and we encourage different kind of creativities to happen. So my role that time was more like the organizing community, part of the organizing community, to liaise with the makers, to liaise with the different workshop, and also speakers, to make all these things happen on the, I think, about 2 days event, yeah. So that's back then, it was really a good time. And also we organized out the makers tour, so where we bring our visitors to different factories in Penang as well, yeah, so that they understand the tech scene in Penang, yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that. With that experience, Vincent, if obviously the situation permits, when we run the My Digital Maker Fair East Malaysia next year, we hope to obviously have you to give us some insights and give us some tips on how to run a maker tour and whatnot throughout the East Malaysia region as well. That would be really fantastic to get the kids out, the teachers out, to do hands-on and be involved in group activities in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a great idea, yeah. Of course, where the things permit, right?
Yeah, that's right. Now, you mentioned Intel very briefly earlier as well, but I also understand you did your internship also in a somewhat similar kind of what you call a PCB designer or something like that. Maybe
Yes.
journey us through that role and how you ended up in Intel.
Sure. So for myself, I think back in the my internship days, so I think it's 2014, where I think that time during my uni time, I was exposed to the PCBs, right? So PCB printed circuit board, where I organized a DIY PCB workshop in my university back then, guided by my seniors. So then I was like very excited about this PCB technology. So I DIY my own PCB, and then I even made my own green PCB later on, which fabricated from China or that. So I thought I was interested in all this PCB designing. So that's why I got the opportunity to internship with National Instrument in Penang. So that's where I become a PCB designer. But while I journeyed through that, I found out that PCB designing might not be the career that I envisioned for, or maybe like suiting my personal characteristic, my personality. So because like PCB designing is a little bit more like not involving as part of the entire project that I feel. So because for myself, I prefer to like customer facing and also more like a front role, maybe like sales, marketing, that kind of role. So that's where I talk to different kind of people, even my superior, my supervisor. Then they say, hey, maybe you are suitable with application engineer, right? So that's why I have the thought. And just nice that that time Intel was having a very great time where they doing all these kind of makers talk. And then they found me, and then they invited me to Intel, I think PG7 that time, to share my journey as a maker. So how I became my maker's journey, how do I went to Shenzhen Maker Fair, all that kind of things. That time, I think 2014, that was the kickstart of my Maker Fair journey. So that's where I travel, not around the world yet, but it's more like to Singapore, to Shenzhen, to Taiwan, Tokyo, all that, to join the Maker Fair, right? So that's where once I graduated, so I tried to get the opportunity with Intel so that I can get involved in all these maker things as well as part of the Intel. Yeah.
So it really shows here that you were already very passionate about it. You really went straight towards it in terms of being involved in all the events, trying to obviously gather ideas and gather to grow your network in that sense in the maker space, not just in Malaysia but also overseas. Like you mentioned, you went around a couple of places after that as well, right? So I guess that is very important as well.
Yep, exactly. So for me, yeah, I am glad that during my university time, I involved in all this so that I expand my network, so that to know more people and also so that more people know me as well. So that we can work together to make something great happen. Yeah.
We will get back to that networking thing in a short while throughout the conversation later. Now, at Intel, could you describe to us what exactly were you doing in Intel?
Yeah, of course. So back then in Intel, so I have a couple of different roles. So I was first involved more in the application engineer role where I do support customers. So wherever they use our development board, if they face some problems, then they will file a ticket, and then we are the front end people to look at it, and then we troubleshoot it. If we are not able to troubleshoot it, then we will work with the engineering team to get it resolved. Either some of the patch update or firmware update, then we need the engineering support to do that. So I'm kind of like the half technical and half marketing folks to be that, right? Then later on, I move on to a more software engineering field where I really started to learn the Linux from scratch because my degree, I don't really learn much on Linux, but on like all the command prompt, all that. Then after that, I think I spent about another 1 year on that to ramp up my software, and then after that I went back to automotive field as a platform application engineer as well, so which is also supporting customer on the automotive field, which is really about troubleshooting on the customer's problems, all that, right? Then after that, of course, throughout this 4 years journey in Intel, as a side, I also involved in all these all the makers as part of the Intel Malaysia Makers lead to lead the activities and also the events that Intel hosts for the students, for their employees, right? Yeah.
Now, 4 years at Intel, and I would, if I were to think back, I think that 4 years was when I actually first met you for the first time, for the My Digital Maker Fair 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it 2018?
2019, I think. But at
Nine-
that time, I think actually I just left Intel. Yeah.
Ah,
It's,
right.
It's
Okay.
just around that time. Yeah.
So it was that transitional period at that
Yes.
point in time. You know,
Yes.
so for the benefit of our audience, I met Vincent for the first time for the My Digital Maker Fair 2019 project, which we had it at the MyTech in the convention center in MyTech in Jalan Duta, and you know, Vincent was a great help. I think his section or his booth area was one of the most popular ones because it involved hands-on what you call activity, and soldering was one of the main thing that Vincent was running for us at that point in time. So it was great memories of that. You know, I think you would agree with me. We had 20,000 people over the weekend. The kids enjoyed themselves. We had a lot of pictures of parents doing that activity together with their kids as well. So, you know, I think STEM in general really brings not just the students together, but also the teachers together as well as the family together in that sense, and get on a very, very beneficial kind of an activity. You know, I'm sure you would agree with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right after Intel, obviously, we just mentioned about the transition period, and what happened after that was that you started you joined a startup that was based in Singapore, UBTech, which is a AI and robotics focused kind of educational. Do I call it a solution, or you know, perhaps give us a little bit of a background on your work then with this startup.
Sure. So I think after the Intel days, so I decided to move on to a more education focused role, which by then I'm the. Sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
So then I'm more on the education technology role. So as a product manager for the company. So basically what I was doing is more on the. So it's like, if you know Lego, right? So it's actually it's a competitor of Lego for that kind of product. So it's like another alternative for that, but it's more focused on AI robotics. So that is where I was involved in understanding the products and helping the companies to build the market for this product, right? So it's more like to sell to the influence the market on, hey, you should use this to use as part of your students' learning, all that kind of things. And then we have a whole base of curriculum that you can use. You can customize it. Like I train you so that you can train the students, that kind of roles, right? Then slowly, at the first, I was doing more on the product side and doing all this curriculum and then product understanding. And after that, I think probably after 1 year plus, I got the opportunity to be involved in more sales role to really talk to the customers on this, to get their requirements and also to understand their requirements and then propose different kind of solutions and events, right? So that they can understand our products and then eventually making some sales for the product. Yeah. So that was what I involved in back then. So I work with the schools. Sometimes I also work with some hospitals as well. They wanted to use robot as part of their body, all that. Yeah. So like, because the robots can dance, all that, so they can, like, as a therapy body for
Right.
the old folks. Yeah.
Interesting. And is this a Singapore company, or are they from elsewhere?
Okay, so the thing is, it's a Singapore-based company, a startup.
Okay.
But then they are the distributor of the UBTech Robotics. So UBTech Robotics is the company that is based in Shenzhen. So we are the one that selling, which is their main distributor in the Singapore region. Yeah.
Now, after UBTech, then I would presume, what did you transition into?
You mean after UBTech?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, after UBTech, then as part of my own upskilling and learning journey, so I'm really keen on staying on top of the technology. So that's where I've been looking on, being active on my LinkedIn. That is where I found some opportunity to upskilling for free, right? Free resources. The only thing not free is my time. So that's why I saw some of the things like you can upskill in the cloud domain, Azure fundamentals, all that for free. So that's why I decided to sign it up as well. That is where I started to learn about Azure Cloud, all that. And then, of course, then back then, early of this year, I found the opportunity as a technical trainer. So I went through the journey, and that's where right now I'm the technical trainer for Microsoft. Yeah.
Right. So you, I caught a word that you mentioned earlier, right? Free resources. Now, the internet today is full of free resources, and I think you are a great example because I've been following your journey. Obviously, you are a great example of how you leverage on those free resources and get yourself. Upskill yourself, in some instances relearn some of the things that you thought you already knew. And of course, technology, like we always say, right, we may think the technology is new today, but tomorrow it may be obsolete already. So there is that constant need to be learning and upskilling, and I think it's also very important in the tech world in that sense, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
Now,
lifelong journey, I would say. Yeah,
sorry, can you say that again?
lifelong journey. Yeah.
Learning is a lifelong. Yes, I totally agree with your statement there, Vincent. Now, obviously, that transition before you joined Microsoft, you did mention that you took that time to really look at what are the things that you need to learn and upskill yourself, and you obviously, I think, in a way, used LinkedIn very you know, to a certain extent, you made full use of LinkedIn. Can you explain to us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, of course. So I think back then, maybe 1 year ago, 1 year plus ago, I wasn't too active on LinkedIn. So I kind of not sure how did I really get into LinkedIn once again. But I of course I follow yourself and Drew, like and also some others. And I see you all keep on creating content and all that kind of things. So perhaps maybe just literally one day I thought like, yeah, I should be also kind of active on LinkedIn so that to meet different kind of people, to be more expanding my network, all that kind of things. I also learning, growing myself more professionally, right? So instead of just on Facebook or Instagram, so but it's, I mean, all these platforms they have their own unique point. So for myself, LinkedIn, so I started to active LinkedIn back in April last year, and then I slowly really like kind of like addicted to it, enjoy it. So because I get to share what I'm doing, and also I also can hear from what others are doing, so that slowly from there I then be more active in there, and then learning more so that I can grow more professionally in terms of my knowledge and experience, right? Yeah, so LinkedIn has really helped me a lot to get a lot of the opportunities that I never thought I would have. So in terms of like being a community evangelism for some companies, or maybe for some of my own book reviewing opportunities, all that kind of things. And also, of course, even like getting into Microsoft, right? So LinkedIn has helped me a lot.
Now, you use the word professional development, career development a few times in that explanation earlier. Now, yes, there is that passion to be in that space, in the tech space, in the maker space. You went out and network a lot by attending events, exposing yourself to what others are doing out there as well. Then you took that initiative to upskill, relearn. There are a lot of certification that can be done via LinkedIn Learning as well, for example, right? And obviously all the other free resources and free tools that you also mentioned very briefly. I know you are an AI enthusiast as well. You are really, I mean, to me, it looks like you're really deep diving into that segment of tech as well. All that mentioned, but I think one very important thing to also consider is to have the right people with you. And I think in your case, you obviously have certain mentors that you felt that has helped you in that journey. Wouldn't you say so? Would you like to share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, of course, this is also one of my things that, yeah, thanks for bringing this up. So yeah, in fact, I'm really thankful for this, my entire journey right now. It's actually, it's really not possible without the guidance from my mentor. So I know, I get to know my mentor back in Intel days as well. She's also a I mean, a manager in Intel. So I got to know her through my involvement in all the events that I'm going through. So through the events that we did and all that, so we built trust with each other. And indirectly, I just get her to be my mentor, right? So that is just like indirect. It's not like very formal that, hey, can you be my mentor? That kind of thing. So it's just very indirect that she becoming my mentor, and not just my career mentor. She's even also my life mentor in dealing with a lot of the things that I'm going through in my life right now. Yeah, so that is where she started to tell me, hey, Vincent, yeah, she understand. I told her, I spent a lot of time with her, and then she told me that, hey, Vincent, yeah, I understand your current stage, but yeah, you wanted to learn Python, you wanted to learn all these programming language. It's very exciting, right? But trust me, this is not your strength, based on what I understand so far from I mean, I read for all my stories to her. So that's where she I still remember that she told me that, Vincent, you should focus on your strength instead of your weakness, right? So that's where I started to think about my strength. What are my strengths? Like maybe networking, to know more people, bring more values to people around me, and then like coordinating events and all these kind of things, and stay on top of the tech, and then share with people, right? So that's where I slowly, I think, of course, all this not done within just 1 day or 2 days, right?
Yep.
So this, I think, it's a progress where I slowly, it's not that 1 day, 2 day, I know what I want, right? So that's where I keep on thinking and then talking to different people. So my mentors, my different friends, all that, so that I get to know what I really wanted. Of course, right now, it's not that I know really 100% what I wanted, but it's still a journey, yeah. So, but I mean, in this journey, it's very important that we have mentors, which is someone that is can give us some advice based on their previous experience, so that we don't go through the same, maybe like a stupid path, or maybe bend the wall, that kind of things, right? Yeah. So it's really helpful, yeah.
I think the right thing to say here is that you obviously need someone to always keep you in check as well.
Yes.
Well, our parents keep us in check, obviously, but you know, in this instance, when it comes to career, sometimes it's also great to have someone from the industry, or if not, you know, at a level or at a stage where they are good enough to impart wisdom in that sense. So I totally agree with you. Mentors are definitely very important. Now, when you got all that thing going in terms of learning and upskilling and whatnot, how did that Microsoft opportunity came about?
All right, so this one back then, so I still need to mention about one thing, which is still back in Intel days, and also based on the network, the events that I joined. I got to know a friend through all these events. So then I think she also part of Intel early on, but then after that she left, and then she joined Microsoft Vietnam back then. Right now also, so then we keep in touch definitely. So sometimes, because she is also very interested with all this STEM, so we are kind of like a like-minded friends. So that's why sometimes I also send her some of the learn to solder kit, so that she also did it as well. So that she also wanted to see how she can contribute to the community at Vietnam, right? So that's why we keep in touch, and wherever this opportunity surfaced, when I saw this, then I discussed with her, and then she was able to refer me, and even talk directly to the hiring manager, so that to have a look at my resumes and all that. So, and that is where I think it helped me a lot to get the opportunity for the interviews, right? And hence I went through the 4 rounds of interviews, and that's where I am right now. Yeah.
Now, did it ever cross your mind at any point in time, even before speaking to your ex-colleague who is based in Vietnam, that you would one day be applying for a job in Microsoft? Or has that always been in your mind ever since your PCB days and you know, running the Penang Mini Maker? Because you are so exposed to all these great big tech companies, right? Intel and whatnot. Has it ever crossed your mind one day that, you know, you'll be actually holding an office card that says Microsoft, or even taking a picture of, I saw that great picture of yours in front of the Microsoft block words, right, in the office. You know, have you ever thought of that? And not just as a site office visit, but actually working there?
Yeah, I think this is a very great question, and also, well, it's tricky in a way. So of course, if you ask me, I never thought of I will be having the opportunity to work in there, right? Seriously, but of course, I think it's a kind of like a dream for people to work in tech companies like Microsoft, Intel. So back then, of course, like Intel and Microsoft, Google, all that kind of companies. So never I thought of like I would be having this opportunity, and of course, it's not very easy to go through the 4 rounds of interviews and all that. So and I really great that I was able to go through this and get into it, and finally I'm also another great thing is that it's a role that I'm really enjoying every single day wherever I did the training delivery 9 to 5 p.m. So after every training delivery, I'm getting very, very inspired and motivated. The energy level for myself is really coming from the learners themselves, right? So because they are very excited to learn, they are very looking forward to learn. So that is where I get excited as well. And at the end of the day, like 5 p.m., 6 p.m., I'm still very energetic, right? So that's really, it's also a job that I really enjoying in here and also with Microsoft, yeah.
I think that's very important. You brought up a very good point, right? For us to also do well in our job, we need to first enjoy the job, right? So you wake up in the morning, you look forward to going to work, and in your case, even after 6 p.m., you're still very energized, full of zest, and wanting to learn more, and obviously you feel absolutely inspired, and that tells a lot about the culture of Microsoft, I believe. Now. Help me understand, as a non-tech guy, right? What is a Microsoft technical trainer? What does your job really entails? Obviously, if it's convenient for you to share with us.
Yeah, of course. So to be more simple, so I'm like a technology teacher, right? So for myself, so like Microsoft, they have a lot of the certification, so different level of the certification. So I'm the one, my team, we are focusing more on the fundamental certification. So if you know about the AZ900, AI900, DP900, SC900, all these certification, so you can look up for it as well. So all these fundamental certification will be the portfolio for myself, where I will need to empower the Microsoft customers on getting this knowledge so that they can pass the certification as well, and of course encourage them to use Azure in their organization. Yeah. So that's basically what I'm doing every day in Microsoft, where if there's non-delivery day, I will be doing my preparation. That means I keep on learning and learning, preparing for my next course or preparing for my others things that in Microsoft, so that I can deliver more values to my learners. Yeah. So that's basically sum up the role that I am in Microsoft. Yeah.
Is that a big team that is similar to what you're doing at Microsoft?
Yeah, so we had something called like a worldwide learning. So, but I think they should be changing the name soon. But it's somehow like a worldwide learning team. So we do have this team in Microsoft, and it's actually for my team we are just fundamentals, but there's other trainers that's focused on advanced role-based certification, because we have like 1-star certification, 2-star certification, and expert certification, right? So we do have different team that is focusing on training all these certification as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay, now I'm going to dial it back a little bit. You mentioned a number of times earlier, you went through that 4 stages of interview at Microsoft. I'm not going to ask you what are the questions they ask you or anything like that, but I suppose, for our listeners that are, for our viewers that are listening in, even for the teachers and parents' benefit as well, right? I suppose when you walk into an interview with a tech company especially, what are the number of things to keep in mind? I understand that you have that few phases of things that you need to do prior to the interview, during the interview, and even after the interview. I've watched your interview with the Microsoft principal as well, and you laid out that thing very nicely in terms of that few stages. Could you perhaps just walk us through that stages and help our viewers to understand what do you need to prep when you enter into an interview session, especially with a tech company?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let me just initially I had the slides, but I didn't do it today. But I will just share based on my real experience, what I went through. So whenever I first got the interview opportunity, what I really do first is, of course, they have a lot of links in Microsoft website, the interviews, they will say how to prepare for a virtual interviews, understand their culture, mission, and mission, all that. So that is the very first thing that I really start to do, right? So I really go and understand what their culture, so what they are doing, then all that kind of things. So to understand, go through each of the links that the recruiter sent me, so that I really understand how do I prepare for my virtual interview. So that's the very beginning, right? So of course, later then, I also use the linking as well. So I connected to maybe the team members of the team, or maybe some of the employees in the Microsoft that have similar job function. Of course, I did not know the real organization chart or so on that, but I just randomly search on the linking, and then I make connection with them, and then of course I learn from them as well. Like what do they really do? What are the challenges that they face? How do you conduct your training, so that I get a better understanding of the role as a trainer, because different roles, they might be quite different, even though it's like similar title, right? So that's why I get to understand that, so that I prepare myself, so that wherever I get asked, it's not something new for me, even though I'm trained. I was a trainer in the previous role, so I just wanted to more like get my context into that Microsoft technical trainer role. So that's why I spend some time on that. And of course, I also prepare for my technical interviews or the presentation interviews. So I had a presentation interview as well, because as a trainer, I need to present. So that's where I also practice my presentation with my mentors, all that, so that they can say, hey, this part not good, and the part. So I spend some time to do that. So that's like 3, right? So a lot of preparation are done. And all these interviews, I think it's initially 3 phases, where I think there's a presentation, then technical, and language. So that is where I prepare accordingly, and it's not too far away. So that's why I got to prepare that. Then during the interview stage, I think the thing is that, of course, first make sure all my setup are good, all my webcam, all my other things are good, and of course internet speed, all that. And then during that day also, I'm get myself like relaxed, definitely too, right? Relax, so that I'm not seems to be nervous. So just doing my best. So like during the presentation interview, so I just trying to present my best, right? So to how do I present as a normal. And the one things that I really wanted to highlight is during the presentation is just be yourself, right? Just be the true self of yourself. Don't like say something that you can't do or whatever, because that shows dishonest of yourself, right? So just be yourself, and just wherever they answer, and it's okay to say you don't know. That's the thing that I learned. It's okay to say you don't know, but instead of just say you don't know, you provide the like suggestion. How are you able to overcome the thing that you don't know? Because in Microsoft, their spirit is about growth mindset, which is like you can learn it all, but not know it all. We can't know everything, but we can learn everything that we wanted to learn, right? So that's the things that it's okay to say you don't know. Don't feel bad about it, right? So, and then after the interview, this is a very great tips that I received a lot from my friends, and also even my all the HR. They say, please remember to send a thank you note to the interviewer, either via linking or email. So I remember the first one, I didn't get her linking. I didn't have an email as well. What I really did is I just searched on internet. I found the email. I think this is the email that is the person. Then I just send it over to her, and she replied me as well, right? Saying, going all that. So because this is very important, so that it creates an impression for the interviewer that yes, you take this seriously, right? Because you enjoy the process, all that, and that's really important. Yeah, I feel that makes a difference as well in my interview process. Yeah.
Fantastic tips there, Vincent. So if I may just recap and summarize a little bit, hopefully I can remember all the things that you mentioned, is that number 1 is obviously preparedness. I think a lot of people today, when they step into an interview or they attend a video call interview and whatnot, being prepared is something that is truly lacking. So being very, very prepared for the interview is a good thing, obviously. Then we talk about things like what you mentioned earlier as well, preparedness. That you mentioned about growth mindset and stuff like that, right? So it's always about thinking how you can grow in that role. So it's not just so much, oh, this is my job description, this is what I'm gonna do, and that's about it, right? So you kind of show a different side to you as well. But obviously the side where you are your genuine self. I love the thing that you mentioned. If you don't know it all, but you can learn it all, because learning is available everywhere. We do live in a digital world today where everything is pretty much at your fingertips. People like to say, ask Google if you don't know. So again, people don't take that literally sometimes, but sometimes that is also good. Google does know most of the things, so you do have to be in that state of mind. I think I want to point out another thing that was quite important to me, especially that you mentioned about being relaxed before the interview. So I think mental preparedness in that sense is also great. So mental well-being is obviously important. You don't have to get too stressed out when you're facing the interview and or during that whole particular period of running through the interviews and whatnot, right? Because four different levels of interviews can really take the toll out of someone. So being mentally prepared is also very important. The thank you note is beautiful. I think a lot of people don't do that enough. As you know, in a way, being given the opportunity to even attend the interview is already something very, very something that we should be very grateful and thankful for. So after the interview, to drop a note, to drop an email, or if they are available on LinkedIn, you drop a message on LinkedIn to say thank you. That is fantastic. But I also noticed something there, right? So you said that the first interview that you did, you had no way of communicating with her, and what you did was you really searched throughout whether it's the internet or asking around and stuff like that, and you managed to find it, and yet you still drop that message. So to me, that was perseverance. Perseverance is obviously very, very key to whether it's working in a tech industry or any industry for that matter, right? So you really laid out pretty good points there for all of us to kind of let it sink in that sense. So I do hope our young viewers that are watching and are tuning in to us really do take that into heed, and of course the educators and teachers as well should also keep these steps in mind, whatever that Vincent has just shared. And obviously, I think it would be lovely at the secondary level where teachers also start to then train their students to kind of face this sort of an interview, right? Be it for internship or a part-time job. And it doesn't need to be in the tech industry as well, right? Because the tips that you mentioned to us over here, I think cuts across all industries and all types of work as well. So that's really great, Vincent, really great. We've got a few more minutes to chat. I want to just perhaps I want to get your thoughts, Vincent, in terms of STEM education in Malaysia. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think we can elevate that a little bit more? I know MDEC and the My Digital Maker movement has been doing great work over the years. Ever since the program has started, we have seen a lot of impact. A lot of rural area schools have benefited from it as well. But what are your thoughts as, I would say, someone who was and still is on ground in terms of being in that maker space, the digital maker space as well?
So you mean the thoughts in the STEM field in Malaysia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so of course, I think it's still a lot to grow in Malaysia right there. So of course, like you mentioned, the My Digital Maker and all that, and that is doing a great job in there. And of course, with all this, there's need a cooperation with all the parties as well, so that all these programs and events that are done really is fully benefited by all the parties. And of course, I think it's never too late. So which is right now, I think Malaysia, they are into all these science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or even like science fair, having all that. And that is where I think it's a like kind of like a never ending journey that, yeah, I think every one of us is journey on. Yeah. So that's why I think Malaysia is definitely also in all this. I think even in the, if not mistaken, in the RBT, they're also having all these science all these makers things inside there already, right? So which I think is great, right? Back then, of course, I don't have, but I kind of learned it myself that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment, Vincent. I wish I had all that opportunity to learn in school as well. But I think you obviously became the better person by taking the initiative by yourself. I just ended up not learning it at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. So obviously there is, we obviously see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a bright future for Malaysia in terms of digital making and digital tech education. Over the last few days, speaking to a lot of the teachers and seeing their enthusiasm and their passion for it, I think we are definitely in that right direction in terms of moving forward with this whole My Digital Maker movement agenda. So that's wonderful. My head off to the people at MDEC for doing such a great work as well. And I would say you would also agree with me when I say that the ecosystem partners will also continuously need to come together and work together. Don't you think so?
Yes, of course, the ecosystem partner. So with all this, where I think all this My Digital Maker, you work with a lot of the ecosystem partner, right? So because you can't be doing all this alone, right?
Yeah.
So this is like leverage on each other's strength to grow more, right? Yeah.
Now, for people who are interested to get in touch with Vincent and obviously to also connect with him, Vincent is more than willing to be connected via LinkedIn. And here you go, that's Vincent Kok on LinkedIn. That's the QR code for you to scan to be connected with Vincent. And obviously, Vincent then will, approve the connection. But of course, we do hope you personalize the invite where you actually say, hey, Vincent, I was watching your session on My Digital Maker Fair 2022 at East Malaysia, and and I scanned on the QR, and obviously now I hope to get connected with you. So there you go. That's Vincent's QR again. So I do hope you have the time to scan it. But if you don't, obviously this session is also going to be available later on, so you can just forward or rewind to the part and then pause and then do that scan via your smartphone. So Vincent, once again, thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with us, and also obviously sharing your very, very wonderful journey, in your tech journey in terms of being in the tech industry. So it's wonderful, and I love the part you shared about the tips in terms of getting ready for interviews with big tech companies as well. So it's really, really great. Again, on behalf of Synapse as well as MDEC, we would like to say thank you for your time, and we wish you all the best at Microsoft, and we hope to see more great things from you, Vincent.
Of course, yeah, let's stay connected, and thank you once again for having me, Andrew.
And obviously come join us for My Digital Maker Fair 2023 onwards, and obviously when we have it as a physical thing over in East Malaysia as well.
Sure.
All right, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't go away. We will be back at 12 p.m. Where we will speak to Cikgu Anutra Sirisena, who is the founder of Tenom Innovation Center. Great person to speak to. And then at 2 p.m. we will have obviously Cikgu Aurelia, who is the Fulbright alumna under the Teaching Excellence and Achievement program. We will talk to her about how soft skills are important and integral in tech. And then as we move on at 3 p.m., we will have Cikgu Samsuria, who is a Google certified trainer. And I've never seen a teacher that is as enthusiastic as her, and she's full of passion for teaching and learning as well. And we end off day 3 obviously with technologist, associate professor technologist, Dr. Helmi Norman, who is from Pakarunding UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, where he'll talk to us about iOS mobile app usage for ideation as well. So great sessions coming up. It's fantastic that we started off with Vincent, obviously, to give us an idea of what the real world is out there and to prepare our kids for the future of work as well. So Vincent, once again, thank you so much. We'll see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Saya perlukan anda untuk memberikan perhatian yang sepenuhnya untuk satu saat. Dalam satu saat tersebut, perkara-perkara berikut sudah pun berlaku dalam internet. 41.6 juta mesej telah dihantar melalui Facebook dan WhatsApp. Jumlah kandungan video baru yang dibuat naik ke dalam YouTube adalah selama 300 minit. 3.8 juta orang menggunakan Google untuk mencari maklumat. Manusia telah menambahkan 13 terabyte data ke dalam internet. Hello world, saya Alina dan ini adalah siri video Asas Pangkalan Data. Saban hari, data bertambah penting dalam kehidupan seharian kita. Malah, sains yang digunakan untuk memanipulasi dan menggunakan data atau dikenali sebagai data science telah disenaraikan sebagai salah satu kemahiran yang paling penting untuk memenuhi keperluan pekerjaan masa depan. Namun, kita perlu faham yang data sahaja yang belum diproses tidak berguna. Data yang diproses siap dengan maklumat tambahan dan juga konteks dikenali sebagai maklumat atau information. Sebagai contoh, data berikut tidak bermakna tanpa konteks. Apa yang kita nampak cuma beberapa perkataan dan satu siri nombor. Walau bagaimanapun, dengan adanya konteks dan maklumat yang betul, data tadi mula menjadi lebih bermakna. Dalam siri video kali ini, kita akan belajar cara-cara untuk menguruskan data. Secara spesifik lagi, kita akan belajar cara-cara untuk menguruskan data menggunakan pangkalan data atau database. Data perlu disimpan di sesuatu tempat dan diuruskan dengan cekap. Pada zaman sebelum teknologi data, kita tidak menggunakan sistem atas talian tetapi dengan menggunakan pen dan kertas. Tahukah anda dalam hospital, terdapat terlampau banyak rekod perubatan di hospital sampai mereka perlu mengupah sekumpulan pegawai rekod perubatan yang tugasnya khas untuk menguruskan jumlah data yang besar secara manual. Pada zaman moden, pangkalan data telah berkembang dari rekod kertas ke versi digital. Sistem pangkalan data merupakan sesuatu yang sangat penting dalam banyak perkara yang kita perlu lakukan dalam kehidupan seharian. Sebagai contoh, apabila anda mengakses sistem SAPS di atas talian, anda sedang berinteraksi dengan pangkalan data pusat rekod murid seluruh negara. Perkara yang sama berlaku apabila anda sedang mencari kesalahan lalu lintas pada laman WILAC, rangkaian interaksi laman elektronik kerajaan, ataupun mencari maklumat mengundi di laman web Suruhanjaya Pilihan Raya. Seperti yang kita nampak, pangkalan data elektronik mempunyai banyak kelebihan berbanding dengan sistem pemfailan kertas. Pangkalan data elektronik adalah lebih cekap, lebih cepat, mesra pengguna, selamat dan banyak lagi. DBMS atau Database Management System adalah sistem berstruktur untuk menguruskan maklumat dalam pangkalan data. Terdapat banyak bentuk pangkalan data seperti hierarki, berorientasikan objek, rangkaian dan hubungan. Untuk tujuan siri video ini, kita akan memberikan lebih fokus kepada penggunaan pangkalan data hubungan. Pangkalan data hubungan adalah salah satu sistem pangkalan data yang paling biasa digunakan dalam dunia pekerjaan. Ia mudah dibina, mudah digunakan dan mudah dikendalikan berbanding dengan sistem-sistem yang lain. Dalam pangkalan data hubungan, data disusun dalam jadual baris dan lajur. Setiap jadual mewakili entiti dari jenis yang sama dan menyimpan atribut berbeza yang menggambarkan atribut entiti tersebut. Sama seperti bagaimana algoritma pengaturcaraan boleh diwakili oleh carta alih, reka bentuk pangkalan data hubungan juga boleh diwakili oleh carta hubungan entiti atau dikenali sebagai Entity Relational Diagram, ERD. Kita menggunakan segi empat tepat untuk mewakili entiti dan bujur untuk mewakili atributnya. ERD ini boleh diwakili dalam bentuk jadual dalam pangkalan data hubungan. Dalam bentuk jadual ini, setiap entiti diwakili dengan satu jadual. Atribut entiti akan memenuhi bahagian lajur yang dikenali sebagai medan dalam pangkalan data hubungan. Setiap baris dalam jadual mewakili rekod entiti. Contohnya dalam sesuatu jadual entiti murid, data murid yang berlainan disimpan dalam baris yang berlainan. Terdapat ribuan bahkan jutaan rekod dalam setiap jadual. Kita perlu mempunyai cara untuk mengenal pasti setiap rekod. Dalam setiap entiti, salah satu sifat akan dijadikan kunci primer. Kunci primer yang dipilih adalah atribut unik dalam setiap rekod. Ia hanya akan muncul sekali sahaja. Dalam contoh ini, walaupun nama mungkin kelihatan seperti pilihan yang baik untuk kunci utama, tetapi secara realistiknya, nama tidak sesuai untuk digunakan. Sebagai contoh, dalam suatu pangkalan data yang mempunyai 1 juta pengguna, pasti terdapat beberapa nama, Lim Waikid atau Ali bin Muhammad. Oleh itu, nama bukanlah kunci yang unik untuk mengenal pasti rekod tersebut. Di sini kita menggunakan nombor pendaftaran murid sebagai kunci primer. Sepatutnya nombor pendaftaran murid adalah unik untuk setiap murid. Ini juga sebab mengapa nombor kad pengenalan untuk setiap rakyat Malaysia adalah unik. Tiada dua orang yang mempunyai nombor kad pengenalan yang sama di Malaysia. Dalam pangkalan data kerajaan, nombor kad pengenalan kita adalah kunci primer untuk merujuk kepada rekod kita. Di dalam ERD, kunci primer akan digariskan. Dalam pangkalan data hubungan, entiti berinteraksi di antara satu sama lain atau dengan kata lain, mereka berkaitan dengan satu sama lain melalui suatu hubungan. Hubungan diwakili oleh bentuk belian dalam ERD. Sebagai contoh, murid boleh mengambil sebuah subjek. Ini juga merupakan sebab mengapa di sekolah setiap mata pelajaran mempunyai kod uniknya sendiri. Misalnya 3770/1 untuk subjek sains komputer. Di dunia sebenar, calon SPM dikenal pasti dengan nombor giliran mereka sebagai kunci utama dan kunci ini akan dikaitkan dengan kunci utama entiti lain seperti kod subjek kepada entiti calon SPM. Jadi dalam jadual kita, kod subjek akan muncul di jadual entiti murid. Apabila kunci utama muncul sebagai sifat untuk entiti lain, ini dikenali sebagai kunci asing atau foreign key. Jom kita imbas kembali apa yang telah kita belajar hari ini. Yang pertama, kita belajar mengenai kelebihan sistem pengurusan pangkalan data elektronik. Yang kedua, kita belajar tentang pangkalan data hubungan dan bagaimana membuat carta hubungan entiti atau ERD. Untuk siri video ini, kami akan cuba membina sebuah sistem maklumat sekolah, SIS. Bolehkah anda memulakan projek ini dengan memikirkan tentang entiti apa yang terlibat untuk sistem maklumat sekolah dan atribut apa yang akan digunakan? Dalam video seterusnya, kita akan melihat dengan lebih mendalam reka bentuk pangkalan data dan belajar menggunakan DBMS yang sebenar. Hello world, selamat kembali ke episod 2 siri video Asas Pangkalan Data. Dalam kehidupan sebenar, anda akan melihat bahawa semua perkara adalah saling berkait. Sebagai contoh, anda boleh menemui produk yang sama yang boleh didapati di semua pasaraya. Tapi ada juga jenama tertentu yang hanya boleh dibeli di pasaraya tertentu. Setiap seorang daripada kita boleh mempunyai satu nombor kad pengenalan sahaja. Dan dengan nombor kad pengenalan itu, kita boleh mendaftar seberapa banyak nombor mudah alih telefon yang kita mahu. Banyak alamat yang berbeza boleh mempunyai poskod yang sama, tetapi setiap negara hanya boleh mempunyai satu kod negara telefon tertentu atau alamat domain laman web sahaja. Dalam kehidupan sebenar, hubungan antara perkara-perkara yang berbeza boleh wujud dalam bentuk yang berbeza. Sesetengah perkara seperti anda dan nombor kad pengenalan anda wujud dalam hubungan satu dengan satu. Sementara yang lain seperti poskod untuk alamat boleh wujud dalam hubungan satu dengan banyak. Oleh kerana entiti mewakili objek kehidupan sebenar, jadi hubungan antara entiti yang lain pun sama seperti objek kehidupan sebenar, iaitu terdapat pelbagai jenis hubungan yang berlainan. Hubungan antara entiti dikenali sebagai cardinality. Cardinality boleh diwakili oleh sesuatu yang disebut sebagai notasi Crowfoot seperti yang terpapar. Walau bagaimanapun, untuk memudahkan pemahaman konsep ini, kita hanya akan meletakkan nombor pada garis nombor untuk menunjukkan cardinality hubungan tersebut. Terdapat 3 jenis cardinality. Yang pertama ialah hubungan satu dengan satu. Setiap entiti hanya boleh berinteraksi dengan satu entiti lain sekali sahaja. Sebagai contoh, anda dan nombor kad pengenalan anda, setiap daripada kita hanya boleh mempunyai satu nombor kad pengenalan. Setiap sekolah hanya boleh mempunyai seorang pengetua. Setiap kelas hanya boleh mempunyai seorang guru kelas. Setiap manusia hanya boleh mempunyai seorang ibu kandung. Jenis cardinality yang kedua ialah hubungan satu dengan M atau satu dengan ramai. Seorang bapa boleh mempunyai ramai anak. Satu kelas boleh mempunyai ramai murid. Satu sekolah boleh mempunyai banyak kelas. Satu orang boleh memiliki banyak nombor telefon. Cardinality yang ketiga mempunyai konsep yang sedikit rumit, iaitu hubungan banyak dengan banyak ataupun dikenali sebagai hubungan M dengan N. Sebagai contoh, ramai murid boleh diajar oleh ramai guru dan ramai guru boleh mengajar ramai murid. Banyak kereta boleh dimiliki oleh ramai orang dan ramai orang boleh memiliki banyak kereta. Banyak buku boleh ditulis oleh ramai penulis dan ramai penulis boleh menulis banyak buku. ERD yang lengkap perlu mempunyai cardinality, entity, attribute dan hubungannya. Terdapat 6 langkah untuk membina sebuah ERD. Jom kita cuba membina ERD untuk masalah berikut. Ini adalah pernyataan masalah yang perlu diselesaikan. Langkah pertama, kenal pasti entiti. Bagaimanakah kita tahu jika ada satu entiti dalam kenyataan tadi? Entiti biasanya melibatkan sekurang-kurangnya 2 atau lebih rekod. Di sini, entiti itu adalah jabatan, projek, pekerja dan penyelia. Langkah kedua, kenal pasti hubungan antara entiti. Kita boleh mengenal pasti perkara ini dengan meletakkan entiti dalam sebuah matriks dan cuba carikan hubungan antara entiti. Langkah tiga, kita dah pun mengenal pasti entiti dan hubungan. Sekarang kita boleh membina ERD yang mudah. Cuba kita buat bersama-sama. Langkah yang keempat, tentukan cardinality dan juga kunci primer untuk pernyataan masalah tadi dan tambahkannya kepada ERD yang telah dibina. Langkah kelima, cari semua atribut lain yang diperlukan dan masukkannya ke dalam ERD. Akhir sekali, periksa ERD anda dengan menggunakan pernyataan masalah tadi. Pastikan anda telah memasukkan semua maklumat ke dalam ERD anda. Mudah kan? Jadi, dalam video ini, kita sudah belajar tentang hubungan antara entiti dan cara membina ERD. Okey, jom kita cuba membina ERD untuk pernyataan masalah seterusnya. Ini adalah pernyataan masalah untuk SMK Arus. Bolehkah anda membuat ERD untuk pernyataan masalah ini? Apabila sudah selesai, gunakan ERD ini sebagai panduan untuk membina ERD pangkalan data sistem maklumat sekolah anda. Sehingga bertemu di video seterusnya, selamat mencuba! Hello world, selamat kembali ke episod 3 siri video Asas Pangkalan Data. Sebelum seorang arkitek merancang suatu bangunan, dia akan terlebih dahulu membuat draft untuk memberikan gambaran awal bentuk bangunan untuk ditunjukkan kepada klien atau pelanggannya. Lukisan draft ini sering bersifat konseptual, tanpa memberikan terlalu banyak ciri-ciri terperinci bangunan tersebut. Okey, walaupun lukisan ini bagus untuk menunjukkan kepada kita bagaimana bangunan itu akan kelihatan apabila siap nanti, ia tidak mencukupi untuk membina bangunan tersebut. Okey. Dengan menggunakan lukisan ini, arkitek sudah mampu untuk membuat pelan tindakan seterusnya. Sebuah blueprint lebih sesuai digunakan berbanding dengan lakaran kerana blueprint mengandungi semua maklumat teknikal yang diperlukan untuk membina bangunan tersebut. Begitu juga dalam reka bentuk pangkalan data. Walaupun kita memulakan proses perancangan reka bentuk menggunakan ERD, kita perlu mengubahnya menjadi skema hubungan untuk mewujudkan pangkalan data yang sebenar. Dalam episod ini, kita akan belajar cara untuk menghasilkan skema hubungan berdasarkan ERD. Kita membina skema hubungan dari ERD. Skema hubungan sebenarnya merupakan koleksi jadual. Dalam setiap jadual, kita menentukan kunci primer, kunci asing dan maklumat lain yang diperlukan yang boleh membantu kita untuk membuat jadual dalam pangkalan data nanti. Skema hubungan kelihatan seperti ini. Terdapat beberapa perbezaan ketara antara skema hubungan dan ERD. Untuk ERD, kita membuat grafik hanya untuk entiti, hubungan dan atribut. Melihat skema hubungan ini, kita boleh nampak dengan jelas yang skema ini lebih lengkap berbanding dengan ERD. Setiap entiti ada jadualnya masing-masing dan sesetengah hubungan juga mempunyai jadualnya tersendiri. Pangkalan data hubungan disimpan di dalam jadual dalam DBMS. Dengan adanya skema hubungan ini, ia membolehkan kita membuat rancangan untuk memudahkan pembinaan jadual dalam sistem pengurusan pangkalan data nanti. Terdapat dua langkah untuk mewujudkan skema hubungan. Langkah yang pertama, untuk setiap entiti, buat jadual untuknya dan bahagian untuk setiap atributnya. Gariskan kunci primer dalam jadual. Apabila kita membina jadual pangkalan data sebenar, ia akan kelihatan seperti ini. Langkah 2 ialah untuk mewujudkan hubungan di antara entiti. Entiti dikaitkan dengan satu atau lebih kunci. Terdapat beberapa senario yang boleh kita lihat untuk mewakili hubungan dalam skema hubungan. Pewakilan tersebut bergantung dengan cardinality hubungan itu. Lihat hubungan yang ini. Satu pengetua menguruskan satu sekolah. Dalam hubungan satu dengan satu seperti ini, kunci primer dari salah satu entiti akan menjadi atribut entiti lain. Apabila ini berlaku, kunci primer dari entiti sekolah akan menjadi kunci asing di entiti pengetua. Letakkan garis putus-putus di bawah kunci asing. Kemana kunci asing dihubungkan tidak begitu penting. Dalam contoh ini, skema hubungan bagi kedua-dua A dan B adalah benar. Dalam hubungan kardinal 1 dengan M, kunci primer pada bahagian 1 dalam hubungan akan menjadi kunci asing di bahagian M. Dalam contoh ini, satu guru mengajar banyak subjek. Kita akan meletakkan kunci primer dari entiti guru iaitu nombor kad pengenalan guru menjadi kunci asing bagi entiti subjek. Dalam senario terakhir di mana kita lihat hubungan M dengan N, jadual baru yang dicipta mengandungi kunci primer pada kedua-dua bahagian M dan N. Lihat contoh ini. Ramai guru mengajar ramai murid. Terdapat kategori khas untuk hubungan M dengan N di mana atribut baru boleh muncul dari hubungan tersebut. Sebagai contoh, dalam ERD ini, ramai murid mengambil banyak subjek dan apabila mereka mengambil subjek-subjek ini, kita akan merekodkan markah yang diperoleh dalam peperiksaan sebagai satu lagi atribut hubungan tersebut. Apabila kita membuat jadual baru dengan kedua-dua kunci primer untuk hubungan M dan N, jadual baru ini akan mengandungi atribut baru iaitu markah. Sebagai latihan, jom kita cuba menukar ERD ini kepada skema hubungan. Langkah yang pertama, kenal pasti entiti dan buat jadual untuk setiap entiti tersebut. Di sini kita boleh mengeluarkan entiti subjek, murid, sekolah, pengetua dan guru dari ERD ke dalam jadual. Kemudian kita masukkan atribut yang bersesuaian dan gariskan kunci primer. Langkah 2. Tukar hubungan dalam ERD kepada skema hubungan. Berikut adalah semua hubungan dalam ERD dan setiap hubungan yang kita lihat akan dijadikan jadual baru. Yang pertama, mengajar kerana ramai guru mengajar ramai murid. Yang kedua, mengambil kerana ramai murid mengambil banyak mata pelajaran. Yang ketiga, mengajar kerana ramai guru mengajar banyak mata pelajaran. Kita akan mula membina atribut untuk hubungan yang tidak memerlukan jadual baru. Perhatikan bagaimana kita memasukkan atribut hubungan bilangan tahun berkhidmat dalam entiti guru. Akhir sekali, kita bina jadual baru untuk hubungan M dengan N. Jom kita rumuskan apa yang dipelajari dalam video ini. Yang pertama, kita telah belajar cara untuk menukarkan ERD ke skema hubungan. Ini adalah ERD untuk masalah kita tadi. Bolehkah anda mengubahnya menjadi skema hubungan? Anda juga boleh menggunakan masa ini untuk melihat ERD anda dan mengubahnya menjadi skema hubungan untuk kita gunakan dalam pelajaran seterusnya. Selamat mencuba!
Our vision is to discover an individual's passions and turn it into sustainable skills. Therefore, we have catered to curriculum best fit for kindergartens, primaries, and secondary school students. We shall learn and master future-ready skills such as artificial intelligence, robotics, coding, 3D modeling, and so on.
Red, orange, yellow,
In future, most of the job will be replaced by robots, machines, and software. Here comes questions. Will robots take over humans? Definitely no. But we must undergo a transformation, reshape education, and reform ourselves. We foster the unique individualities and self-assurance of each student, equipping them to take on the world with our Genestech philosophy, one patient's infinite future.
Welcome everybody to Edu360 Academy.
Robotics makes me even more smarter than I need to know.
Okay.
It makes me know how to make other Legos too. I like robotics because it makes me smart and make me more study hard.
E@Robot Club is a one-stop STEAM robotics coding learning center in Malaysia. We provide robotics education to students from ages 6 to 16. We adopted Korea and use a robotics teaching module. It is carefully crafted to fit the students' needs in Malaysia. E@Robot Club is certified by Digital Maker Hub and My Digital Maker since 2018. Since 2018, our annual National Robotics Competition are recognized by the Ministry of Education, which is known as STEAM Cup Malaysia. Our headquarters is located at Emporis Kota Damansara. We provide a nurturing, stimulating, and safe environment for our students, facilitated with PC, equipment, 3D printing, and maker lab. As for today, we have more than 30 E@Robot Club learning centers throughout Malaysia. We educate our students not only through assembling robots, but we focus on practical use of mechanical parts, programming learning, and project management. We emphasize students' growth to ensure the technology we educate them could be beneficial and help them to achieve success in their future.
Hello world, selamat kembali ke episod 4 siri video Asas Pangkalan Data. Kita telah pun hasilkan skema hubungan dan sekarang tibanya masa untuk kita mewujudkan pangkalan data kita. Terdapat banyak jenis DBMS yang ada di pasaran. Sesetengah DBMS seperti MySQL ataupun Oracle membolehkan perantaraan pangkalan data dengan pengaturcaraan penskriptan pelayan seperti PHP. Namun, untuk tujuan video ini, kita akan menggunakan perisian Microsoft Access. Untuk video ini, kita akan gunakan contoh skema hubungan SMK Arus yang telah dibangunkan. Langkah pertama, buka perisian Microsoft Access dan pilih Blank Desktop Database. Berikan nama yang bermakna kepada pangkalan data anda dan klik Create. Klik Create di bahagian ribbon atas dan klik Table Design. Masukkan semua medan bagi entiti ini. Setiap satu medan diletakkan pada satu baris. Tetapkan jenis data yang bersesuaian pada bahagian Data Type. Anda juga boleh tuliskan nota tambahan di bahagian Description mengenai medan data itu. Tetapkan medan kunci primer dengan mengklik kanan pada medan yang dikehendaki dan pilih Primary Key. Gambar kunci akan timbul pada medan yang dipilih sebagai kunci primer. Pastikan semua kunci asing dan primer ditetapkan ke Yes, No Duplicates bagi bahagian indeks di bawah medan. Kemudian, tekan View dan Data Sheet View. Satu tertingkap pop-up akan menjelma. Berikan nama yang sesuai kepada entiti ini dan tekan Yes. Microsoft Access membenarkan dua jenis pandangan. View terhadap fail pangkalan data. Koleksi data boleh dilihat sebagai helaian data dengan Data Sheet View ataupun sebagai struktur pangkalan data dengan Design View. Pandangan koleksi data sebagai helaian membolehkan anda melihat semua rekod pada satu jadual, manakala pandangan reka cipta jadual membolehkan anda menukar tetapan pada jadual seperti medan kunci primer, saiz medan dan jenis data pada medan. Pemilihan pandangan boleh dilakukan dengan menekan View di bahagian Design pada ribbon di atas. Untuk tidak melengahkan masa, saya telah pun hasilkan semua jadual. Sekarang tibalah masa untuk hasilkan hubungan antara entiti. Masuk ke Design View dan klikkan Database Tools dan seterusnya Relationship. Cara yang paling senang adalah dengan cara drag and drop. Contohnya, saya ingin gunakan School D pada School sebagai kunci asing di Principal. Saya tarik School D dari School ke Principal. Tikkan Enforce Referential Integrity, ini bermaksud pemadaman School D di satu tempat juga akan memadamkan segala rujukan kepada School D ini di tempat lain. Lengkapkan semua hubungan antara entiti dengan merujuk kepada skema hubungan anda. Setelah anda siap, anda akan perhatikan bahawa bahagian ini semakin serupa dengan skema hubungan. Jangan hairan kerana skema hubungan juga kerap digunakan untuk mewakili reka bentuk sesuatu pangkalan data. Okey, jom kita imbas kembali pengajaran video kali ini. Menukar skema hubungan kepada pangkalan data yang sebenar dan menggunakan Microsoft Access untuk mencipta pangkalan data sebenar tersebut. Baik, anda dah tahu cara untuk menghasilkan pangkalan data dengan menggunakan perisian DBMS. Sekarang tibalah masa untuk anda cuba menterjemahkan skema hubungan anda ke pangkalan data di dalam perisian DBMS. Setelah anda siap dengan sistem pangkalan data anda, jangan lupa untuk masukkan rekod untuk kegunaan video seterusnya. Anda boleh masukkan rekod dengan menaik masuk dalam datasheet view. Selamat mencuba! Hello world, selamat kembali ke episod 5 siri video Asas Pangkalan Data. DBMS wujud untuk membantu kita mengurus data. Ini adalah antara operasi yang kerap kita lakukan dengan DBMS. Masukkan data, keluarkan data, padamkan data dan kemaskini data. Semua perisian DBMS boleh berinteraksi dengan pengguna melalui bahasa pengaturcaraan SQL. Bahasa pengaturcaraan SQL ataupun Structured Query Language merupakan satu bahasa pengaturcaraan khas dicipta untuk pangkalan data. Pangkalan data hanya akan faham arahan dalam bentuk SQL. Jika ada laman web yang ditulis dengan PHP ingin berhubung dengan pangkalan data, PHP juga perlu gunakan sintaks SQL untuk berkomunikasi dengan pangkalan data tersebut. Untuk video ini, kita akan belajar kod SQL yang paling mudah, iaitu akses kepada data. Dalam SQL, akses data boleh dilaksanakan dengan kod arahan select. Dalam bentuk paling asas, sintaksnya begini. Select attribute 1, attribute 2 from nama jadual. Dalam sesuatu aturcara SQL, simbol ini mesti diletakkan pada penghujung aturcara untuk menyatakan aturcara tersebut telah habis ditulis. Mari kita cuba dengan pangkalan data kita. Tekan Query Design. Pilih jadual yang hendak diakses. Anda boleh pilih satu atau lebih dari satu jadual. Kemudian dalam View, tekan SQL View. Anda akan nampak aturcara SQL di sini. Untuk cubaan ini, kita akan akses semua rekod dalam student. Kita boleh guna simbol bintang untuk memberi maksud ke semuanya. Jadi, typekan select bintang from students. Ini bererti paparkan semua atribut untuk semua murid dari jadual students. Selepas itu, tekan Run. Anda akan nampak keputusan query anda dalam tertingkap Query 1. Cuba select Gender from Student. Anda akan nampak hanya laju gender atau jantina sahaja yang akan dipaparkan. Okey, jom kita cuba pernyataan SQL yang lain. Kali ini kita akan cuba pilih murid tertentu sahaja. Contoh sebelum ini, paparkan atribut dari semua murid. Tetapi realitinya, kadang-kala kita mungkin perlu memilih subset daripada set data kita. Untuk tujuan itu, kita boleh gunakan select where. Sintaksnya begini. Select attribute 1, attribute 2 from nama jadual, where syarat yang perlu dipenuhi. Kita boleh cuba yang ini pula. Select student name from student, where gender equals F. Ini bermaksud pilih nama murid dari jadual student untuk merekod di mana gendernya sama dengan F. Dengan ini, kita boleh paparkan nama semua murid perempuan dalam sekolah. Kita juga boleh tambahkan logic operator di bahagian where. Contohnya, kita hendak dapatkan guru perempuan yang mempunyai 3 tahun pengalaman mengajar. Kita boleh dapatkan maklumat ini dengan aturcara berikut. Select teacher name from teacher, where years of service equals 2 and teacher gender equals F. Dalam kod ini, SQL akan memaparkan rekod yang memenuhi syarat logik kita. Selain operator logik AND, kita juga boleh gunakan logic operator OR, iaitu mencari rekod yang memenuhi salah satu syarat yang ditetapkan. Contohnya, dalam kod aturcara berikut. Select teacher name from teacher, where years of service equals 2 or teacher gender equals F. Perisian akan memaparkan rekod yang memenuhi syarat 2 tahun berkhidmat ataupun guru perempuan ataupun rekod yang memenuhi kedua-dua syarat. Kita juga boleh susunkan hasil query kita berdasarkan syarat yang ditetapkan. Bayangkan jika anda ingin mendapatkan data semua guru perempuan dan susunkan hasil query dengan urutan menaik. Kita boleh gunakan kod arahan berikut. Select attribute, from nama jadual, where syarat. Order by susunan ASC atau DSC. ASC bermaksud ascending, iaitu tertib menaik, manakala DSC bermaksud descending, iaitu tertib menurun. Typekan hasil query ini dalam Microsoft Access anda. Select teacher name, from teacher, where teacher gender equals F, order by years of service ASC. Atau cara ini akan memaparkan rekod nama guru dari jadual teacher di mana jantina guru itu adalah perempuan. Paparkan rekod mengikut jumlah tahun perkhidmatan mengikut tertib menaik. Okey, untuk video ini kita dah pun menjalankan query terhadap pangkalan data. Dengan ini, siri asas pangkalan data kita sudah tiba ke penghujung. Siri ini adalah untuk memberi pengenalan kepada konsep pangkalan data dan menggalakkan anda untuk memikirkan cara untuk mereka bentuk suatu pangkalan data. Pada penghujung siri, kita diperkenalkan dengan perisian DBMS, Microsoft Access dan juga bahasa pengaturcaraan SQL yang digunakan untuk berurusan dengan pangkalan data. Jika anda berminat, anda boleh cari di Google cara untuk menghasilkan aplikasi pangkalan data dengan menggunakan Microsoft Access. Terdapat pelbagai feature di Microsoft Access yang mudah tetapi amat berkuasa. Contohnya, mencipta borang memasukkan data, menghasilkan laporan, menghasilkan antarmuka mudah bagi interaksi dengan data dan sebagainya. Itu sahaja daripada saya dan saya berharap kita boleh berjumpa lagi pada siri video yang akan datang.
E@Robot Club is a one-stop STEAM robotics coding learning center in Malaysia. We provide robotics education to students from ages 6 to 16. We adopted Korea and use a robotics teaching module. It is carefully crafted to fit the students' needs in Malaysia. E@Robot Club is certified by Digital Maker Hub and My Digital Maker since 2018. Since 2018, our annual National Robotics Competition are recognized by the Ministry of Education, which is known as STEAM Cup Malaysia. Our headquarters is located at Emporis Kota Damansara. We provide a nurturing, stimulating, and safe environment for our students, facilitated with PC, equipment, 3D printing, and Maker Lab. As for today, we have more than 30 E@Robot Club learning centers throughout Malaysia. We educate our students not only through assembling robots, but we focus on practical use of mechanical parts, programming learning, and project management. We emphasize students' growth to ensure the technology we educate them could be beneficial and help them to achieve success in their future.
Coding was first introduced to me by my swimming coach, Miss Irene Hisham. She was the one who was explaining about coding to my parents and recommended Qt Kids to them to enroll me to start my coding journey. My dad, who was very keen with her explanation, came home and talked to me about it. Me, who really likes to play games and spend a lot of time on my laptop, said yes and thought it was a very good idea because it will help me in my future to code or create my own game or website.
My favorite part about coding is when I get to test the project I have made so I can see it's either successful or unsuccessful. And if it's unsuccessful, I could improve my troubleshooting skill too.
Yeah, I will use it for my future career maybe so I can be really good at coding, then most country or university want to accept me as their coder, or maybe I can help people edit their photos or code new games and post it on the App Store, and then people will like my game and I'll become more popular.
Our vision is to discover an individual's visions and turn it into sustainable skills. Therefore, we have catered to curriculum best fit for kindergartens, primaries, and secondary school students.
Hello World, nama saya Alina dan untuk siri video kali ini saya akan tunjukkan cara untuk membina semua binatang-binatang yang comel ini dengan memprogram Microbit. Jika anda belum pernah dengar atau lihat Microbit, Microbit adalah sejenis mikro pengawal. Tapi apa itu mikro pengawal? Mikro pengawal boleh dibayangkan seperti komputer yang telah dikecilkan. Walaupun mikro pengawal tidak mampu untuk menjalankan beratus aplikasi seperti laptop, tetapi mikro pengawal mampu untuk mengawal dan mengesan isyarat elektrik melalui pin yang ada padanya. Maksudnya, Microbit mampu untuk menghantar elektron untuk menyalakan lampu LED, menggerakkan motor dan mengesan jika anda telah menekan butang. Jika anda tahu cara untuk memprogram dan membina menggunakan Microbit, anda boleh mencipta pelbagai jenis projek yang sangat hebat. Cool kan? Dalam siri ini, kita akan membina gajah yang boleh menggerakkan belalainya, mata serigala yang berkelip-kelip, baby shark dan banyak lagi. Bagi siri Microbit kali ini, kita akan mengatur Microbit dengan menggunakan pengaturcaraan berasaskan blok. Buka aplikasi MakeCode anda. Tertingkap simulasi ada di sebelah kiri, laci blok aturcara di bahagian tengah dan zon aturcara di bahagian kanan untuk menyusun kod blok. Jom cuba program Microbit untuk paparkan mesej pada LED yang ada pada papan Microbit ini. Pertama, pergi ke laci blok basic, tekan dan tarik blok on start ke zon aturcara. Kemudian, tekan dan tarik blok show string. Gabungkan dengan blok on start tadi, anda boleh typekan apa sahaja mesej di sini untuk dipaparkan pada papan Microbit. Anda boleh susun di mana-mana sahaja blok forever pada zon aturcara asalkan nampak kemas. Tekan dan tarik blok show icon, gabungkan dengan blok forever tadi. Pilih bentuk hati, sambungkan Microbit pada komputer dengan menggunakan wire USB. Tekan download pada perisian dan savekan file atau acara anda ke dalam Microbit yang telah disambungkan tadi. Apa akadnya yang akan berlaku pada papan Microbit? Mengapa mesej hello hanya dipaparkan sekali? Mengapa bentuk hati tidak padam? Bincangkan dengan guru dan rakan-rakan anda. Ini adalah cabaran pertama sebelum anda ke episod seterusnya. Paparkan emoji kenyitan mata pada papan Microbit anda. Selamat mencuba! world, selamat kembali ke siri Microbit. Saya Alina dan hari ini kita akan cuba untuk membina mata serigala ini. Dalam video yang lepas, kita telah mengatur cara kod untuk mengawal LED pada papan Microbit itu sendiri. Untuk video ini, kita akan sambungkan Microbit dengan lita dan komponen luaran. Sebelum kita mula membina serigala, sediakan semua bahan untuk projek ini. Kertas untuk muka serigala, cardboard, 2 lampu LED untuk mata serigala, 2 perintang 100 ohm, 3 klip buaya dan jangan lupa papan Microbit. Langkah pertama ialah untuk membina muka serigala. Anda boleh lukis atau ikut langkah lipatan origami. Tebuk 2 lubang kecil untuk mata serigala. Langkah kedua, kita bina lita yang akan menyalakan mata sang serigala. Masukkan 1 LED pada setiap lubang yang ditebuk tadi. Okay. Kaki pendek kedua-dua LED ditemukan dan dipintal. Klipkan kaki yang telah diputar dengan satu hujung klip buaya. Hujung klip buaya satu lagi diklipkan pada pin GND pada Microbit. Klipkan setiap satu kaki panjang LED dengan perintang dan klip buaya. Satu hujung diklipkan pada pin kosong dan satu lagi diklipkan pada pin 1. Sekarang masanya untuk kita program Microbit untuk bantu serigala kelipkan matanya. Dalam perisian make code, tekan advance pada laci blok dan tekan pins. Blok digital write boleh menghantar maklumat off atau on pada pin yang kita pilih dengan menggunakan angka 0 atau 1. Kita nak nyalakan kedua-dua LED tadi, jadi pada pin blok digital write, pilih pin P0. Isyarat yang nak dihantar ialah on, jadi type 1. Perkara yang sama untuk LED pada pin P1. Tekan dan tarik blok pause dan tetapkan tempoh nyalaan kedua-dua LED. Kita biarkan LED menyala selama 1 second, 1 saat. Langkah yang sama diulang untuk tutupkan LED. Cuma kali ini, isyarat yang nak dihantar melalui blok digital write ialah off. Jadi typekan 0 pada kedua-dua pin. Tetapkan tempoh LED ditutup dengan menggunakan blok pause. Kita nak pastikan mata serigala sentiasa buka dan tutup, jadi kita pilih blok forever, selama-lamanya. Dan kita gabungkan dengan blok-blok tadi. Sekarang, mata serigala akan berkelip setiap 1 saat. Sambungkan Microbit pada komputer dengan menggunakan wire USB, tekan download pada perisian dan savekan fail atau cara ke dalam Microbit yang telah disambungkan tadi. Bagaimana pula jika kita nak serigala kelip mata dengan cepat atau perlahan? Apakah yang patut anda ubah pada blok atau cara? Bincangkan dengan guru dan rakan-rakan anda. Kemaskan projek anda dengan menambah cardboard dan cuba susunkan wire dan papan Microbit dengan kemas supaya tidak kelihatan dari depan. Projek serigala dah siap. Cabaran anda sebelum ke episod seterusnya ialah cuba buatkan serigala mengenyit mata. Selamat mencuba! Baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark. Hello world, selamat kembali ke siri Microbit. Saya Alina dan hari ini kita akan membina baby shark. Dalam video yang lepas, kita dah lihat bagaimana Microbit boleh bersambung dengan lita luaran menggunakan LED. Kali ini kita akan gunakan buzzer untuk programkan muzik. Sebelum kita mula, sediakan semua bahan-bahan projek dahulu. Cawan kertas, buzzer, 2 klip buaya dan papan Microbit. Jom bina badan baby shark dulu. Macam biasa, anda boleh gunakan kreativiti sendiri atau ikut cara saya. Mula-mula kita sambungkan wire merah dan hitam pada buzzer. Okey, macam ni. Buat lubang pada cawan kertas untuk masukkan buzzer tersebut macam ni. Okey, keluarkan wire di tepi cawan. Kemudian kita boleh potong kertas untuk badan baby shark. Sekarang badan dah siap, kita akan bina lita buzzer. Wayar merah pada buzzer diklipkan ke pin kosong dan wayar hitam diklipkan pada GND di papan Microbit. Untuk perisian make code, sentiasa gunakan pin kosong untuk buzzer. Lita dah siap, masa untuk programkan muzik. Pada perisian make code, kita akan gunakan blok music. Blok playtone akan memainkan nota muzik yang dipilih. Kita boleh ubah tempo nota muzik 1 beat bersamaan dengan 1 saat. Okay. Saya akan mengatur cara untuk memainkan nota do, re, mi. Gunakan blok forever untuk memastikan muzik dimainkan berulang-ulang. Sambungkan Microbit pada komputer dengan menggunakan wire USB. Tekan download pada perisian dan savekan fail atur cara ke dalam Microbit yang telah disambungkan tadi dan lihat apa akan terjadi. Bagaimana pula jika kita nak gabungkan LED dan buzzer? Bincangkan dengan guru dan rakan-rakan anda. Kemaskan projek anda dan cuba susunkan wire dan papan Microbit supaya tidak kelihatan dari depan. Projek Baby Shark dah pun siap. Cabaran anda sebelum ke episod seterusnya, cuba buatkan Baby Shark untuk memainkan lagu Baby Shark yang sebenar. Selamat mencuba! Hello world, selamat kembali ke siri Microbit. Saya Alina dan hari ini kita akan membina kambing bidi-bidi yang comel ni. Kalau dalam video yang lepas kita belajar macam mana nak pasang buzzer dan programkan muzik, video kali ini kita akan cuba tambahkan satu lagi komponen iaitu push button. Sebelum kita mula, sediakan semua bahan projek dulu. Cardboard, buzzer, 2 klip buaya dan papan Microbit. Kita mulakan dengan membina badan kambing, kemudian pasangkan buzzer dan programkan muzik yang kita nak. Langkah pembinaan lita dan atur cara sama seperti video yang lepas. Terdapat 2 push button atau butang yang sudah pun dibina pada papan Microbit anda. Kita akan program Microbit untuk memainkan muzik apabila butang ditekan. Kita akan gunakan blok input. Dalam perisian make code, pilih blok on button A pressed. Kita boleh mengubah butang yang ingin dikawal, butang A, B ataupun A dan B. Masukkan blok music, wah wah wah. Start melody. Wah, wah, wah. Susunan atur cara ini bermaksud apabila butang A ditekan, muzik wah, wah, wah dimainkan. Atur cara seperti ini dipanggil sebagai pengaturcaraan berasaskan peristiwa atau event-based programming yang bermaksud atur cara yang dicetuskan oleh peristiwa. Butang A ditekan adalah peristiwa yang mencetuskan muzik. Bagaimana pula caranya jika kita nak mainkan muzik Happy Birthday apabila butang B ditekan? Bincangkan dengan guru dan rakan-rakan anda. Sekarang, cuba programkan Microbit anda untuk memainkan lagu Baba Black Sheep atau Mary Had a Little Lamb apabila salah satu daripada butang ditekan. Kita juga boleh menggunakan muzik sebagai peristiwa yang mencetuskan sesuatu. Gunakan block music on melody note plate Ikon hati ditunjukkan apabila muzik dimainkan. Sambungkan microbit pada komputer dengan menggunakan wire USB. Tekan download pada perisian dan savekan fail atau cara ke dalam microbit yang telah disambungkan tadi dan lihat apa yang akan terjadi. Kemaskan projek anda dan cuba susunkan wire dan papan microbit supaya tidak kelihatan dari depan. Projek kambing biri-biri dah siap. Cabaran anda sebelum ke episod seterusnya ialah cuba menggunakan muzik sebagai pencetus peristiwa. Muzik boleh menyebabkan ikon atau mesej dipaparkan atau menyalakan LED dalam lita luar. Selamat mencuba. Hello world, selamat kembali ke CV Microbit. Saya Alina dan hari ini kita akan membina sang gajah dan belalainya. Dalam video yang lepas, kita sudah pun melihat bagaimana untuk menggunakan buzzer, push button pada papan Microbit dan juga atau cara berasaskan peristiwa. Untuk video kali ini, kita akan memperkenalkan komponen luaran baru iaitu servo motor. Sebelum kita mula, sediakan semua bahan projek dahulu. Kertas warna, micro servo motor 3 volt, wire penyambung, 3 klip wire dan papan Microbit. Microbit hanya mampu membekalkan 3 volt untuk menghidupkan motor. Seperti biasa, gunakan kreativiti anda untuk membina badan gajah. Pastikan belalai gajah berasingan daripada badannya. Tebuk lubang pada muka gajah di bahagian belalainya. Sambungkan wire penyambung dengan servo motor, warna jingga ke wire putih, wire merah ke wire merah dan wire coklat ke wire hitam. Masukkan servo motor pada lubang tersebut. Pasangkan lengan servo motor pada servo motor tersebut. Skru dengan ketat dan gamkan lengan tersebut pada belalai gajah. Klipkan wire berwarna putih pada pin kosong, wire berwarna hitam pada GND dan wire merah pada 3 volt. Dalam perisian make code, pilih dan tekan block on button press. Di bawah advance, tekan extension. Dan kemudian tekan servo extension. Blok servo akan menjelma dan tarik blok set servo untuk block on button A press. Pin P0 dibiarkan kerana servo motor kita tadi disambungkan dengan pin P0 pada microbit. Ubah posisi pertama daripada 90 darjah kepada 160 darjah. Anda boleh melihat lengan servo motor berubah pada tingkap simulasi. Tekan dan tarik blok pause dan tetapkan masa selama 500 milisaat. Tukar nilai seterusnya kepada 30 darjah. Ulang blok-blok yang sama untuk lengan motor kembali ke posisi asal. Sambungkan microbit pada komputer dengan menggunakan wire USB. Tekan download pada perisian dan savekan file atau cara ke dalam microbit yang telah disambungkan tadi. Lihat apa yang akan terjadi pada belalai gajah apabila butang ditekan. Bagaimana pula caranya jika kita nak mainkan muzik Happy Birthday apabila butang B ditekan dan belalai gajah pusing ke kanan dan ke kiri apabila kedua-dua butang A dan B ditekan. bincangkan dengan guru dan rakan-rakan anda. Kemaskan projek anda dan cuba susunkan wire dan papan microbit supaya tidak kelihatan dari depan. Projek gajah dah siap. Cabaran anda sebelum ke episod seterusnya ialah cuba mengubah posisi pelalai gajah apabila microbit digoncang. Macam mana tu? Selamat mencuba! Hello world, selamat kembali ke siri Microbit. Saya Alina dan hari ini kita akan membina seekor lembu. Video yang lepas kita dah belajar cara-cara memasang dan mengawal servo motor menggunakan push button. Kali ini kita nak lihat bagaimana untuk membina penderia sentuh atau touch sensor buatan sendiri untuk mengawal Microbit dan komponen luaran. Sediakan semua bahan projek dulu. Kertas cardboard, aluminium foil, glue tack, servo motor, 5 klip buaya, papan Microbit dan bekalan kuasa. Kita bina badan lembu dengan melukis atau print gambar lembu dan potong mengikut bentuknya. Pastikan ada 2 salinan gambar lembu. Potong gambar lembu, pisahkan ekor lembu dengan kemas. Pada cardboard yang pertama, balut kedua-dua tanduk lembu dengan aluminium foil. Untuk cardboard kedua, lekatkan aluminium foil pada bahagian kepala dan tanduk. Klipkan dengan klip buaya pada kedua-dua tanduk tadi pada cardboard yang pertama. Satu hujung disambungkan ke P0 dan satu lagi ke GND. Lekatkan kedua-dua cardboard bersama dengan menggunakan glue tack. Pastikan ada ruang di antara cardboard pertama dan yang kedua. Aluminium foil ini bertindak sebagai konduktor dan membolehkan arus elektrik mengalir apabila kita sentuhkannya dan melengkapkan litar. Pasangkan lengan pada servo motor dan skru dengan ketat. Lekatkan servo motor pada bahagian ekor. Lekatkan lengan dengan ekor lembu yang dipotong tadi. Sambungkan wayar penyambung dengan servo motor. Wayar jingga ke wayar putih, wayar merah ke wayar merah dan wayar coklat ke wayar hitam. Klipkan wayar berwarna putih pada pin kosong. Wayar berwarna hitam pada GND dan wayar merah pada 3 volt pada papan microbit. Lekatkan papan microbit di belakang lembu. Pada perisian make code, tekan dan tarik blok on pin press. Biarkan pin kosong. Tekan tarik blok set servo P0 angle to 90 darjah. Blok pause untuk 500 milisaat. Tekan tarik blok set servo P0 angle to 0 darjah. Kita tukar pin P0 kepada P1 sebab servo motor kita ada pada pin 1. Tambahkan blok pause 500 milisaat. Ulang semua blok-blok ini untuk memastikan servo motor kita kembali ke posisi asal. Sambungkan microbit pada komputer dengan menggunakan wayar USB. Tekan download pada perisian dan savekan fail atau cara ke dalam microbit. Keluarkan wayar USB daripada microbit, sambung bekalan kuasa atau bateri kepada microbit. On bekalan kuasa dan perhatikan apa yang berlaku apabila tanduk lembu dipegang. Kemaskan projek anda dan cuba susunkan wayar dan papan microbit supaya tidak kelihatan dari depan. Projek lembu dah siap. Sebagai cabaran, tambahkan LED pada mata lembu dan nyalakan LED apabila ekor lembu bergerak selepas tanduk dipegang. Selamat mencuba!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the My Digital Maker Fair 2022 at East Malaysia. It is so fantastic that you guys are all still watching our session since the beginning. We already had Vincent Kok of Microsoft sharing his knowledge, sharing his experience in his career in tech. We are very, very grateful to him. And of course, we are back again today. We've got a very special guest. Now, we have spoken to many educators and change makers over the last few days, and I don't mean to sound like there's favoritism, but this session's guest is really someone I'm looking forward to speaking to. Now, if you do a quick Google search, and you will realize her name pops up along headlines that will make you go, wow. Now, not many outside of the education fraternity, though, knows of her. The people of Tenom loves her, and now we want the people all over Malaysia and the world to love her as well. She is first and foremost a school teacher at SMJK Chung Hua in beautiful Tenom, Sabah. She is the founder of Tenom Innovation Center. She's also the International Leaders in Education Program ILEP alumna back in 2013. We will come to that shortly, and was recently presented with a 50,000 ringgit in an award ceremony. Now, what is all that about? We know that Cikgu Anutra Sirisena is super excited to be with us here today. Welcome, Cikgu Anutra. How are you?
Great. Hi, Andrew. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to see you smiling from ear to ear, Cikgu Anutra. Now, I hope I did that introduction justice. You know, we are very excited to have you. Obviously, you know, we also know that your schedule is really packed. You do a lot of things besides just teaching in the school as well, which we will get into very, very shortly. Now, perhaps let's talk a little bit about the early days. I just want to bring it back to 2013 when you became a Fulbright scholar. Now, for those who are not familiar, the International Leaders in Education Program, ILEP, provides international teachers with unique opportunities to develop expertise in their subject areas, enhance their teaching skills, and increase their knowledge about the United States. ILEP consists of a semester-long, non-degree, non-credit academic program at US universities, including seminars on new teaching methods, curriculum development, lesson planning, and teaching strategies. Now, I'm sure you have gone through all that, right? And obviously now the program has been replaced with a similar but shorter exchange program called Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, TEA. I want to know, how did you get involved with that, Cikgu Anutra? Run us through the application process, selection, interviews, which uni you were at, host family, which state you were at, and stuff like that. Just to give us a rough idea of this Fulbright program.
All right. It always brings a lot of memories, good, pleasant memories when you talk about ILEP. So it was such a breakthrough for me in 2013 when I was able to be one of the 5 selected to represent Malaysia in that scholarship. So International Leaders of Education Program is something that was offered for any educators with at least a minimum of 5 years of service. And basically, the program aims to get teachers to go over and get professionally developed, as well as cultural exchange. And then when we come back, we're able to, make a lot of changes, probably pleasant and good changes to the way we teach. So for me, myself, most of the time, teachers that represent are English teachers, not to sound biased to English teachers, but they have the advantage. But being a chemistry teacher and being able to actually be placed in Arizona State University and also be attached to North High School in Phoenix, it was definitely a turning point in the way I teach, especially when we talk about assessment. So, Andrew, if you remember, 21st century learning wasn't that much of a hoo-ha in 2013, right? It all started later after that.
Yep.
So when I went to US, that's one thing that I definitely have came back and started changing and doing a lot of changes to the way I teach, because it definitely sheds a lot of light on how assessment can be done and how assessment and grading are actually different. And I think the selection process was mainly more quite similar, where you actually have to meet certain requirements and then write in essays. And if you're selected, then you have to get into an interview and sit for a TOEFL test to ensure that English proficiency is far enough for you to start into the program. And after almost 6 months, and then you come back to the same school, and there's no new placing or thought. So it's really very, very easy for you to transition back into the school and try a lot of new things.
So to understand a little bit better, you spent 6 months in Arizona just to complete that program. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I obviously, you are a walking, living example of how that program itself has really benefited, and you have made so much of a use. You have leveraged on that and obviously brought back a lot of learnings and apply it to your teaching in Sabah as well. So fantastic little program, right? Yeah. Just out of curiosity, when you were there, your cohort, how big was the cohort? How many people participated? Are you still in contact with some of your batchmates? Walk us through that.
All right. Yeah, because when we were the entire program for 2013 was 75 participants all over the world, and to Arizona State there was 15 of us. So we are very, very close. I mean, the big family maybe here and there, but the 15 of us, we spent almost half a year together in ASU, different high schools, but we were staying together. We learned a lot, especially my housemate was from Lebanon and also Indonesia, and we have friends from Senegal, Ghana, Brazil. Egypt. So the kind of learning you get is like mind blowing because
Yep.
it's not so much only about culture, but the way learning is happening, the kind of priority in learning that takes place in each classroom is so unique and diverse. And I think being in Malaysia itself, we are so diverse, and this kind of learning definitely adds a lot of value to how we can be a better educator. Yeah.
How many out of the 75? How many of them were actually Malaysians?
Five of us. Yeah, five of us. We have a friend in Sarawak, and then Kuala Lumpur, Perak, and Selangor. So it's like we are just from everywhere. 3 English teachers, myself and Leo is chemistry and biology teacher. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I'm sure you will immediately tell everyone that if there is an opportunity to participate in such a program, please go ahead, go and get it done. And it's an experience of a lifetime. It's lifelong learning in the sense where a lot of things can be brought back. So I would assume you would definitely say something like that. Yes.
Agreed. A lot of time teachers think that going somewhere so far. It's like they always have a lot of restrictions, like I'm going to leave so far, so many things to handle, not so ready to move so far for a short period of time. But I would definitely recommend this. I mean, like now we have PA program every year. Malaysians representing Macy have a lot of information on this, and I think teachers should apply. Don't worry whether you are underqualified or overqualified. Don't think about that. Just apply, because if you get the opportunity, it definitely will add value to your teaching career. What else a teacher would need unless to be a better teacher, right?
Yes.
So please try, and please give it a try and enjoy the state.
Now, you are obviously a chemistry teacher, teaching obviously in SMJK Chung Hua right now. Were you stationed in a different school before that, or how is your teaching journey in Malaysia started?
Okay. So yeah, I know. I got first posted in Chung Hua, and I'm still here since 2006. But I did my practical. I did some teaching experience. I was in Sekolah Menengah Agama in Perak, in Jasin, Melaka, because I was in UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. So my latihan mengajar was in a sekolah agama, and I definitely think it added a very rich experience for me. The 12 weeks with my friends, and the experience teaching in a sekolah agama definitely gave me some idea on how can a teacher be more flexible. How do we adapt to different expectations of a school environment? It was definitely a great learning curve for me. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really have much experience with other schools, except the 6 months I was in North High in US. Yeah.
Great. Now, the name Cikgu Anutra as well as Tenom Innovation Center is almost synonymous, right? You cannot separate them in a line. Now, I'm very curious. I've probably read this story many times, and obviously also heard you share as well. But for the benefit of our viewers today, how did Tenom Innovation Center came about? I suppose when, and I want to ask the big why. Why have a Tenom Innovation Center? And perhaps paint us a picture of Tenom, right? I've personally never been to Tenom before. So, imagine if you need to describe to me what Tenom is, give us an idea, and then go ahead.
I'll try my best to put that into words without visuals. So let's get you to visualize how Tenom looks like. So Tenom basically is a district. It's a pedalaman district, about 2.5, 3 hours away from Kota Kinabalu. So the beautiful Sabah. So you travel down like hilly roads to Tenom. And Tenom is one of the 4 pedalaman districts, yeah. And I'm lucky because most of the secondary schools are clustered around the town area. We are not so remote. But in a small district like Tenom, we have 7 secondary schools, 1 private, and we have 46 primary schools. So this is pretty much the landscape of education, how the schools are very far remote, but most of them, all these students come to this secondary school. And Tenom is always known for coffee. We have 3 different coffee factories and suppliers. And I really hope that besides coffee, agriculture, the beautiful Murut tribe, we also want to tell everyone out there that we also have innovation center. So that's Tenom Innovation Center. So the entire idea started when I was one of the 20 teachers participated in a program, Internet of Things, back in 2017. So as a chemistry teacher, it was my first taste of what coding is, what robotic is, what is the entire process of making in more, at that point of time, 5 years or 6 years ago, yeah, you do a little bit of technology, but not this much. Okay. So when I experienced a 3 day train the teacher program, I realized that coding and programming is not something to be feared as much as the pictures painted by many. Because when I was in university, I took up a chemistry major. So some of my friends, they are doing Java and C++. It's like so difficult. So I've brought that phobia with me throughout my career. So when I was actually able to experience it firsthand, I realized the potential. But it still didn't convince me much. I know that it's doable. And when I started training my students alongside my partner, Cikgu Fatiha at that time, we realized that the students actually learn things very fast, no matter how new the thing is, how alien the language may seem to them. We are talking about kids in pedalaman, so they are not so good in English. And then, on top of that, coding is another set of language. And at that point of time, Chunghwa wasn't, we didn't offer any kind of computer classes or computer courses. No, yeah, we don't have any of such. And innovation was a very, no, we didn't really have one as well at that point of time. So seeing the students were able to actually, see spark in them and learning, I spoke to another 2 teachers from 2 different schools, which are my co-founders, Cikgu Iza and Cikgu Leona, 2 different secondary schools. We say, let's collaborate, let's come up with a space. Let's set up a very, very simple space where these kids can come together instead of just focusing on one school. I think a lot of time we only think about competition, preparing for competition, and the impact stops there. I mean, I'm not saying that the impact is not big, but we could actually amplify the impact if we have a proper platform. So when Cikgu Leona and Cikgu Iza was like, I don't know what is this, but let's just do it. The 3 of us wrote in a proposal to Hapsing, and Hapsing sent it to MDEC. So MDEC agreed to, fund off our one-off funding for us. We got some stuff. I think it was around 6,000 to 7,000 ringgit worth of goods. And when we actually got that funding, it was a turning point for us as an educator as well. Yeah. We convinced our principal. I mean, I spoke to my principal and convinced him to give a space, just a normal space. It doesn't have to be a really big, expensive space for a maker space to take place. All you need is a space. Then when we started in 2018, February, we started with these 3 teachers, myself, Iza, and Leona, and then of course Cikgu Fatiha. I pulled her in, and then we have 4 student mentors. for student mentors. When I talk about student mentors, I really want to send this message to a lot of educators out there to believe in your students, because Tenem Innovation Center, whatever you are reading about or listening about, the entire activities and programs, trainings are conducted by these students, not us. Yeah, so these students are trained basic coding, basic robotic, and then they always continue to improve. At the same time, they learn how to train others, their own school, other schools, primary schools, officers, teachers, principals, lecturers. Name me, anyone, give them anyone, they're able to train them. Yeah.
It's fantastic how you build something out of a dream and an idea, and I love the fact that you actually use the students to you empower them to continuously then pass back on that knowledge that they have gained to other people as well. So that student mentor thing is to me very, very crucial as well. Really fantastic. Now, obviously, since you've started Tenom until today, I'm sure some of your student mentors have already graduated high school. They've gone on to do certain things. Maybe you want to give us a few examples of what they went on to do, and are they still coming back to help out and stuff like that?
Yeah, that will be a really a validation to what we do. And a lot of time, if you ask me this in 2018 when we first started up, probably I don't have much impact stories to share with a lot of people. But today it's a privilege and honor to actually be proud of the product that we have scaled through these 5 years, and I hope we can do more. The first batch of mentors, like we have Kenneth. Kenneth is in UTP. He got his scholarship. He's in University Technology Petronas. And we also have Maya. Maya, she actually pursued her diploma in engineering, electrical engineering. She completed her diploma. I mean, these are some of the students. We have like Kennywell. Kennywell he's now pursuing his mechatronic diploma in Polytechnic Sabah. And these are the students who never knew they would actually pick up STEM career or, what they have chosen today, if not because of the exposure and the experience they get. And of course, the famous Brenda story. So Brenda definitely is one of my, it is something that gives a lot of warmth to me, because she's a girl, very, very small, very timid, right? And many of our friends, her friend Genevieve, a few of them, they are all doing data science now. In fact, Evie, I still remember Evie, when she went to Matrix, they went to national level Matrix competition and won a gold award for innovation. All this comes back to how they started in TIC. And they always, when they are on holidays, they are always back in TIC. They will always surrender to myself and tell them, teacher, I'm back. You need me? So it's really nice because they always want to give back to their juniors. They have no worries about, whether they can or cannot, but it's more about like they take ownership of the space. They believe that they are part of it and it belongs to them, regardless where they are today. So when they come back, we are trying to build a culture of alumni, not only meeting up where there's an annual meeting, but an alumni that are actively engaged in the program. So they are always there to contribute wherever they are. Like just a few months ago, Kenneth came back on holidays and was teaching the juniors how to do 3D modeling in another platform using Shapar instead of Tinkercad. So all these kind of learnings are always exponentially, like it's like developing slowly because of these seniors coming back and sharing new knowledge. And I think this is something very crucial in the learning of our younger generation, because when we started TIC, one of the things that we always hear, the industries are complaining that graduates are not having the skill sets they need in the market. So when the industry players are talking about how the kids graduating from university not having the skill set, I feel as an educator in the secondary school, we also reflect upon that journey. Like, are we producing students who have the kind of skills you need for these students to be adaptable and open to learning? Are they able to troubleshoot any kind of problems coming to them? Yeah, it could be any kind of problems because we don't know what the future holds for them. But we do know that we need them to be problem solvers. Yeah, so I think that is pretty much why TIC, it's so it's so focused on empowering students because we believe that these are the people who are going to change the landscape of, Malaysia in the future.
Now, you mentioned earlier your two co-founders probably thought you were crazy when you had this idea initially, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that reaction from a teacher and an educator, right? I suppose then in the Tenom community, right? You talk about the parents or guardians or just the rakyat of Tenom, right? What did they think of Tenom Innovation Center when you first started? Were there hurdles for you to explain to them why your kids needs to stay back at school because there's a certain activity, or if they could come back on weekends to get some projects done? Walk us through that experience.
Okay, that's a good one actually, Andrew, because a lot of time we only look at success, but I think the many failures and hurdles that we faced was actually the learning curve for us and for all teachers as well. So if in the classroom context, we would have tried many approaches and fail, and we keep trying until we get the one that works for our students. So in Tenom Innovation Center, the first thing was to get the buy-in from the PPD. So getting the buy-in from PPD was one. Like a lot of, when we started, when we said, okay, we want to do this, like everyone's like, what's that? What's a maker space? We are in Tenom, okay? It's the first time some very, very small number of students are being exposed to robotics and programming. And then now you say you want a maker space. Like, what is that? So it was really difficult to make people understand because we ourselves were exploring the term maker space. We were like, we just want a space for the kids to come and do, but we're going to focus, we were very focused that we wanted it to be very much digital because that is the kind of learning we have been left quite far from the rest. Before this, we have like annual robotic fair, maybe in some in Malaysia and so on, or in Sabah, but we never get involved, we never get a chance to be part of it just because we are so far away. And so when we started to tell people, it was very difficult at the beginning because one, they don't know what it is. Number two, they haven't had any kind of result to refer to be convinced with. So the only thing we could do as educators is to use our students as our bait. So if these kids want it, so a lot of parents were like, okay, instead of them spending time doing something else, might as well send them to school, to TIC, and let them just spend time do something. But let's wait and see what they have. That is why we wanted to have a maker fair. And we started our first Tenom Maker Fair in 2018 because we wanted a platform to bring together the culmination of activities we have crafted, trained, produced the entire year to a platform so people can see, the community can see. So when we started in 2018, it involved 6 secondary schools and 6 primary schools only. At that point of time, we had about 50 teams, 50 plus teams. So that is when the PPD was like, wow, this is what Tenom kids can do? Then parents were asking like, why my student, my boy in this school are not involved? They started to ask why their kids are not involved, why their kids didn't learn this. So that's when we started our outreach. We made it more bigger. We went bigger. We started with all the digital outreach that we managed to complete finally.
now that you have mentioned, the impact and whatnot, I also want to touch a little bit on that. Give us an idea of how many schools are you working with now? The network of TIC, I know it has grown over the years. How many teachers have came through TIC? How many students have came through TIC? Just the general impact in terms of numbers, if you have it off the top of your head.
All right, sure. So basically, when we started with 3 teachers and 4 mentors. So these 4 mentors were like the champion of those that we started with 24 students. We picked a few that we thought was more, interested in what they're doing, and they kind of like love what they're doing. And over the years, when we scaled, because like I said, after 2018 Maker Faire, then PPD said, okay, this is going to be in our yearly calendar. So it is one of the activity by under PPD and TIC. So it gives us a bigger responsibility to do more outreach, not only 6 per year, because we didn't have much funding at that point of time. We didn't have funding at all, in fact. So we needed to do 2 things. We need to build capacity. We need more student mentors. At the same time, we also need money to go and do more. Then we managed to bring in Yayasan Hasana as our grant provider for 2-year program. And slowly we built our network from there, scale up to 40 plus students, mentors, running the space. And we have about 13 teachers. And these teachers, we have 3 from PPD officers, and we have primary school teachers, secondary school teachers from different schools who are willing to be part of TIC. So how do they actually work? These outreach programs can be done in TIC, or we go to these outreach schools. So there's 2 parts of the training. So some teachers will be the one who actually brings some of the mentors with some of our tools to primary schools and conduct training over there. Or there will be also some school students with their teacher coming to TIC, and we have mentors placed in TIC during our operational work hours for them to actually explore and learn. And we open up schedules. We have our Telegram support group. We give them all the opportunities to come and learn, and we help them and prepare them for competition or exhibition, just because we want them to showcase the learning they have gotten, not so much on just competition as well. And in fact, we wanted them to feel more confident in competing like state level or national level. We want to bring more Tenom students out. So through this outreach program, we have managed to get now more than 30 schools to be part of state level competitions. Before this, like they probably never even dreamt of being part of a digital competition. And the kind of collaboration, the ecosystem we built, we started with, of course, Hubsing, MDAC, and then, of course, our technical partner who have been with us from day one, Chumbaka. They have helped us a lot with modules. Of course, we do have some from our own, but they have a really good module that we didn't have the need to create or recreate. What we did was, to use what we have, the resources, and from there we started connecting with, of course, PPD, JPN, and then Polytechnic, KK, Kinabalu Coders, and College Vocational Keningau, and now we are really looking forward to work through other PPDs as well, like especially the Pedalaman, so that we can build the momentum and bring it to other districts neighboring to Tenom, of course.
Hearing you talk about all that is so impressive, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you started off, you obviously didn't know this was how it's going to end up being, right? So there were a lot of trial and error as you go along, but it's great that you did not give up. You went on with it. You trusted your instinct. You really want to do it, and today, like you just explained, the impact of it is fantastic. It's amazing. So kudos to you and your team at TIC, from everyone since day one until those that are currently still, contributing to TIC. I really salute all of you for doing such a fantastic work, initially with the Tenom community, but of course you have now grown and again, your dream here now is to obviously reach out to the rest of the PPD Pedalaman, for example, and I suppose if I'm a teacher in Semenanjung and I'm looking at Tenom, I would think to myself, can this be done in another place, or is this just somehow the uniqueness of what Tenom is? Do you think it's that, or do you think, here is a model of what we did with TIC, I'm more than willing to share it with you, and I also want to see a lot more TICs in a way happening in Kelantan, in Perlis, in Johor, in Kuala Lumpur, even for that matter. What do you say to that?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say that if we can do it, everyone else can do it. So I really want everyone to understand that it's not that Tenom is so special that we are able to do it, that you can't, because I believe that every district have your own uniqueness, you have your own resources, you have your own strength. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, I would like to invite all of us, educators, parents, whoever there who are interested in setting up something very similar to what we have done, is to focus on what you have and your mission based on the local need. Because for us, when we started, we didn't, like Andrew, you were saying that we didn't really dream that today I would be talking about the impact to everyone. Because I remember a few years ago, I spoke about low cost makerspace, but I never really expected that the impact it could give beyond Tenom. Because when we started, we were only thinking of Tenom, because we know that we are in need of this. But now we realize that we are fine, we are fine now that we have a community already, and our community understands this. But we would really like to expand this further. So we have like Yayasan Petronas, who are very, very enthusiastic in this kind of investment in this kind of knowledge. They even visited TIC to understand better how the model works. And definitely one thing that they summarized, it was very true, it's because of the team. So you need to have a team that's willing to work. It's not so much about the space first. The team has to come first before the space. So if you have a team, it doesn't have to be a big team. A small team is enough, committed, and you really know for sure what you want to do. Then you start from there and slowly, grow. You don't have to have a lot of things at one time. And of course, I know Cikgu Goh Koming, who's in Taiping, he's going to start something very, very, very soon. So those around Perak, Kedah, probably can visit him. And, feel free to talk to us, because we definitely want to help scale this bigger. We can't do it alone. And in our case, for Sabah, we are now having very good collaboration with SINIC, Sabah Creative Economy Innovation Center, and KSTI, Kementerian Sains, Teknologi, Inovasi. I think we need this kind of agencies, players in the state level, to actually be there for you, to impact what you're doing and go further as well. Instead of just focusing on just your school community. I mean, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. You can always start from your school community. But I believe that the same resources can impact more people only if you're willing to collaborate.
Fantastic. I think those words are really true. I totally agree with you. Now, you recently participated in the inaugural Malaysia Teacher Prize Award. See, when I mentioned that, I already very, very kanchong already. Before we continue, I would like the viewers to take a look at this.
I am Cikgu Anutra, top 10 finalist of the Malaysia Teacher Prize 2022. I teach chemistry in SMJK Chung Hua Tenom Sabah. I believe that the reason we are educating and being an educator in school is because we want to make sure that when the students leave school, they are able to face whatever challenges they have in front. I mean, they could be taking chemistry, but they probably are going to be a sales manager. So will they have the skills? Therefore, in the era of moving from IR 4.0 to Just Society 5.0, our students should not only have content knowledge, but skills that are marketable, that are so valuable in real life. Therefore, I think my aspiration or my goal and what I foresee is how Malaysian educators are dynamic and we are able to produce students who are able to adapt, who are able to navigate through whatever challenges the world is bringing to us, be it digital, be it arts, be it humanities. Because in the end of the day, what is STEM without the heart of human? Malaysia Teacher Prize, the power of a teacher, the potential of a nation.
Wow, such a powerful message that you left for the Malaysia Teacher Prize Award video presentation. I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said, you know, getting them ready for real life. And what touched me most was that, you know, what is STEM without the human heart, right? And I think that's how a community makerspace like Tenom Innovation Center is really about. So amazing. You know, please share with us that whole Malaysia Teacher Prize award journey.
Yeah, it's still, you know, I'm still on cloud nine. Okay, Malaysia Teacher Prize, it was when it was first coined, you know, the idea was out. I was in Program Duta Guru at that point of time when Sam and Cheryl came over to talk about it, promote it. I still didn't buy it. I still didn't want to apply. You know, because, you know, when you apply all these kind of awards, you know, it's like you have to justify to people what you have done. You need to tell people this, I've done this, so give me an award. I didn't want that. So I just like felt like it's okay, we are fine, we are doing what we are doing. You know, we are growing and we are happy. So I just like, you know, kind of like, okay, good, and I just let it go. Then they extended the deadline, and then my mentor, Puan Sri, she was with Hapseng before, so she said like, Anushka, think, if your TIC can get 50,000, imagine what you can do with that money. And I was like, oh, then I couldn't sleep already. Then I was like, it's like very selfish for me if I didn't apply, because not for me, but at least, you know, the mission we are on, we could really benefit with whatever help and fund that we get, so that we can do more what we do. So that's when I sat the last 2 days, sat down, sent in my application, and I forgot about it. Because, you know, of course, there's so many other people who texted me, private messaged me, asking me to apply. I believe that the intention is very, very sincere. Just that I prefer to be, you know, behind the limelight, was really not so comfortable with the attention of applying for award. So when I applied, I forgot, then looks like after the stringent, you know, filtration process where they filter out 150 through a system of, I think they have about 30 something judges and juries. And I finally was listed as top 20 for another interview. That's when I was sent an email, called and asked me to be ready and choose a slot for interview. Then I was like, oh, okay. I got into top 20, I forgot. So I told my principal, teacher, I have an interview. So she was like, because she was one of the person who asked me to apply as well. So I just like, okay, I just have to inform her that I'm going to be in that interview. And after that interview again, I was like, okay, they're only going to select 10, right? So it's like, okay, it's okay lah. I've been selected by top 20 out of 800 plus amazing teachers. That's good enough already. It's a validation of the work we do anyway. Then I forgot about it. Then after that, again, you know, I got the prank call, I think Chico Go talked about the prank call as well. So Cheryl and Sam did a prank call, and we were told that we got the top 10. So that's when the next journey came into picture, where we were flown to KL, and I had to go through another final interview. Was very, very nerve-wracking interview with really prominent people in the room, and to tell them and convince them why you should win. And the whole professional development program were given for free to all 10 top 10. And I think it definitely has one very clear message, if I could say so. It's all about building the confidence in a teacher, that a teacher is not just a teacher, but you have a huge power that you can use, because you can build the nation. We talk about nation building, we talk about how teachers are great all these years, but teachers were never celebrated the way we were celebrated. Yeah, and I've never seen such celebration before, and being one of the first to experience it, I'm just grateful and privileged and honored. And I really, really hope that teachers out there who are doing amazing, amazing job out there, you probably didn't apply for it this year. Yeah, please do so next year. There are so much write-ups about it, how to do it, and why you do it, not because of award, but the help, the recognition itself will bring in many help and support to the mission you are in. I think that is more important, and that's even more expensive than that 50K I won.
I suppose it's the ripple effect you want out of being in that limelight that you initially do not choose to be in. So I totally get what you mean, Cikgu Anutra, and I'm sure there's a lot of positive from that since then, right? And also, of course, just to clarify with our viewers as well, this is not an award specifically for STEM teachers. So the finalists are all teachers of different backgrounds, teaching in different fields of work. We even have teachers who are teaching children with special abilities and stuff like that. So it's not just for STEM specifically. It's just that so happened, obviously our inaugural winner over here is a STEM focused teacher with the Tenum Innovation Center as well. So fantastic. So before I move on to the next segment, I think I want to roll this one as well, just for the benefit of people who have not seen it. I think it's a beautiful video, and I want to play this for everyone to see it now.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Naz Rahman. Seperti yang saya katakan, kita bukan jalan-jalan cari makan hari ini. Kita jalan-jalan mencari guru, cikgu, pemimpin yang kami raikan. Tepukan buat mereka.
Yeah, we are here to support the dreams of all of our top 10 finalists because we know firsthand that dreams are powerful. What more, the dreams of these teachers.
So it's interesting that Sam said power. People often don't associate being a teacher with power.
But here at the Malaysia Teacher Prize, we acknowledge this power that teachers hold. The power to inspire, the power to change lives, and the power to make a difference. Most importantly, the power of nation building.
Teaching is not just about imparting knowledge. I think that's it. It's about building relationships, right? I think you all know that when you love your teacher, you can learn so fast and you pay attention.
So the winner is Cikgu Anutra Sirisena.
I would like to introduce you to Brenda. It was her first time competing in Young Innovators Challenge. It was her first time doing coding, touching microcontrollers. After the competition ended, she came to me telling me, "Teacher, I like this. I want to do this." Today, Brenda is a third-year student doing data science. Ladies and gentlemen, how many Brendas have we missed by not giving these kids an opportunity to touch and play and explore robotics? And how many Brenda we could make and create by giving that simple opportunity to them. So let's join our hands together and build more innovation centers. And come to TIC, we'll tell you how to do it cheap. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure Cikgu Anutra will still get goosebumps every time she sees that video, and you know, rightly so, because it's so deserving. And you know, for those who are wondering how can you participate or how can you check out about Malaysia Teacher Prize, there's the QR code for you to scan. And if you're not watching this now live and you're watching it later on, obviously you can pause the video and take your time to scan the QR code. Now, Cikgu Anutra, again, amazing experience. I'm sure you were lost for words at that time, but it was so powerful. You've shared it earlier with us as well about Brenda, and you mentioned Brenda during your winning speech as well. I love the fact that you mentioned this, and I want to just put it into my own perspective, right? It's great that you and everyone involved with Tenom Innovation Center has literally built a safety net. Now, why do I say that, right? You have built a safety net because hopefully with the safety net, no more Brendas will fall through the cracks, right? You will hold on to everybody. No one is going to fall through that crack anymore. And you will be able to then reach out to each and everyone who wants to you know, start off in this, wants to have a career in tech or be involved in tech in some way or form. So it's fantastic that Tenom Innovation Center has now built that safety net for everybody.
True. And we hope that more PPDs, more schools, or more partners are able to do that. And if we can be in any help or in any way to support, please drop us a word, connect with us, and we definitely will be there.
Absolutely agree. You already mentioned it as well. If you want to know how to build a makerspace cheap, please get in touch with Cikgu Anutra and the team at Tenom Innovation Center. Fantastic. So thank you so much for your time. We wish TIC, we wish the Tenom community the best for all your future plans and projects, and we hope to see more coming from all of you in days or months to come, right? As mentioned earlier in the show as well, the ILEP program is now known as the Fulbright TEA. The TEA program obviously is the Teaching Excellence and Achievement program. It brings international teachers to the United States for a 6-week program. So it's no longer as long as 6 months, but it's a 6 weeks program to take academic seminars for professional development at host universities and to observe and share expertise with teachers and students at the host university as well as at local secondary schools, right? So through this is obviously made possible through MACE, the Malaysian American Commission on Educational Exchange. MACE was founded in 1963 as a binational commission for Malaysia and the United States to promote educational exchange between the two countries. So you will be sent over to the Macy Fulbright Malaysia website. If you scan on the QR code, you will be able to find out more about it and stuff like that, right? So don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back at 2 p.m. when I speak to Cikgu Azuela about having soft skills in tech-driven world today, and then at 3 p.m., Cikgu Samsurya speaks to us about all things Google as a Google certified trainer herself, before technologist Dr. Helmi Norman of Pakarunding UKM closes day 3 for us. So in the meantime, before we hit 2 p.m., do check out all the tutorial videos and great video contents from Cybersecurity Malaysia, for example, while you are on the platform. We will see you again at 2 p.m. And Cikgu Anutra, we will see you again, hopefully, in the coming future. Take care. Bye-bye.